Ladies and gentlemen, he's a member and lead singer of a group called Sugar Ray. He's Irish. He's got all his hair.
He's the best looking. He's the best looking guy in here.
He's the best looking guy in here. He's an American, and his name is Mark McGrath. Ladies and gentlemen,
the legend.
Oh,
Mark McGrath. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, and you guys are liars, first of all. Brandon, I mean, he's got 20 years on us.
Can I be honest with you? He's better looking than you because he's
I know
32.
Look at him.
Look at him.
Have you seen him at 32?
He's a cutie pie.
I think you're on the front cover of People for best
Rolling Stone, but who's bragging? All right, I mean, it's just words.
Rolling Stone for best looking
rocker.
Yeah.
No, People was sexiest rocker, okay, but Rolling Stone was for my musical accomplishments. And by the way, how bummed do they go? Like in retrospect, looking back at me being on Rolling Stone, like maybe that wasn't our best idea that week. But I'm on the hallowed halls, the Rolling Stone hallway.
That's a big deal.
It's huge, man.
My wife goes, tell him. She texts me. She goes, tell him you want to fly.
You were like, God damn
I was like,
it.
I'll give you a beating, woman. How dare you?
Guess where I get that the most?
Where?
At the
We were
airport.
just talking about
At the airport.
Dude, I just say, I know, I get it.
Oh, God.
Put your arms around me. I got to do
God,
it.
God,
It's everybody's moment. I got to give them their moment.
You gotta give them their moment.
That makes me furious.
Well,
how
you know
about
what? But you know what? They own you in that moment. You know, and by the way, they deserve it. You know, if you're kind enough to recognize me and like, look, I used to get called douche and that. I'll take this. This is, you know, the stink of the '90s is going away. So there's a whole freedom for like the Vanilla Ices and me of the world.
Well, do you feel that because you're a good-looking guy, and especially in the '90s, you're this good-looking lead singer in this really popular band, dudes. You make one little mistake. There are guys just like, because their girlfriends like you. So now guys are looking for an excuse to call you a douchebag. You can't win if you're a good-looking rocker sometimes.
Well, that'd be like me admitting that, which is weird to say that. But the point is, like, you know, also our music wasn't, we weren't dropping Slayer tunes. You know what I mean? We weren't like, wasn't Pearl Jam-esque. We weren't headed for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
So it kind of worked in like synchronicity there. You had this kind of light music that was fun with a guy that like, you're like, all right, great. We'll see you in a couple years. Luckily, we wrote a few songs, which is the reason why I'm talking to you today. Yeah. We wrote some songs that stand the test of time.
Yeah.
We have 2 #1 songs, 4 top 10s and 6 top 40s,
man.
and you sell 10 million records.
That's
counting.
That's a big deal.
It is a big
Hell
deal.
yeah,
You
it's a
become
big
part
deal.
of people's lexicon, and like you become part of people's life experience. And you were just talking about, when someone comes up and goes, I just want to fly at the airport.
Yeah.
They also follow it with, it was also the first song my 2-year-old daughter sang to me, and it's like a really touching moment,
That's
know? And I know what that is, having 6-year-old twins. So if I can be part of people's landscapes, which I am, which I'm honored to be, then I've won as a songwriter and musician.
Well, see, I think it's
100%.
weird. You go back to how guys, they'll lash out at you or say, that's whatever, girly music or pop music, something like that. I went to a Blink-182 concert, and Travis Barker's a buddy of mine, and I posted, him playing the drums and all that, and people were like, how lame or gay that music is? And I don't respond back on it, but I want to go,
it's useless.
hey, my man, you realize because of the music you listen to does not make you tough, correct? It has nothing to do with it. I will jam to Sugar Ray, fucking Bieber,
also,
Taylor Swift.
Also, it's
and
really
who cares?
also like it's also really difficult to do that, to write a really good song. But I was listening to Justin Bieber. I listened. I don't care what anybody says. It's not my kind of music. Make no mistake, that kid is talented.
Well, no one says he's not talented.
He'll come in right now with acoustic guitar and
no
make
one
you
said-
cry.
that's
Make you
not
cry, right?
Supremely talented man.
Make you cry.
No, without a doubt, make you cry. I'm not
love
kidding.
That's
you.
not the beat on him. Everyone knows he's talented.
Yeah, we tried to get on that for a little bit, but then we saw him
Then
singing.
they're like,
acoustic. All right,
shit.
I have to back off that one. The guy's really talented. He's kind of like a Timberlake,
Sure.
Like, oh Jesus, he's the funniest guy in Saturday Night Live. He can act. I mean, the music thing's almost secondary to how brilliant he is.
It's like Pink too. Pink was getting all this stuff like, oh, you lip sing, you do this. She went, huh? And then went and did a acoustic
sing.
solo, and you're like, holy balls.
If you don't know Pink can't sing, you don't like music.
It's nuts, man.
I always say this too, and the younger guys are probably hitting you up about, Blink-182's lame and this and that. You haven't got your heart broken. Air Supply doesn't make sense to you. Once your heart gets broken, Air Supply and Frank Sinatra.
I'm all out of love.
Right.
I'm so lost without you.
Yeah, I know it's too late, but when you're young, you're like Slayer, dude, Metallica, F you, and like you don't have any life experiences. The music is defining you. You aren't defining the music.
You're
Once
so
you have
right.
real life experiences, you're like, there's a whole world of great music, and there's only 12 notes. If you're gonna, I listened to the Damned and the Sex Pistols and the Clash. That brought me into music. That let me go. As a guy who cannot sing, I can sing. It gave me the wherewithal and the will to get up on stage.
Yeah.
And if that was the only thing I was listening to for the last 30 years, I'd have a very minimal palate in terms of music is concerned, and a life experience. Because let's be honest, music is life.
Yeah. Well, and don't you feel through your experiences it helped you write certain songs?
Without a doubt.
Like that, you can. I think a lot of musicians, even with stand up, you can go back and look at your material and see where you're at in that point in your life.
Like that's so well said.
It's literally like you know what I'm saying, autobiography of your life. You go back and look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, it's well said because we had to learn on the fly. No pun intended. Oh my God. You got me
You should have
started.
paused.
You got me
Why did
started.
you pause? We had to learn on the fly. Waiting for it.
Because I
waiting for
knew,
it.
you know, it's so funny. You're such a pro. You're like, I'm not even going to jump on that. You know, I mean,
We both went,
you go, we'll let him do it. You know,
My chin went down. I was ready to pounce. My hands went up.
your claws are out. But you know, we got signed and we had 2 songs, Lick Me and Caboose. Those are the names of our songs. We lied to the label. And so we had 40 songs, we're ready to go. I mean, this is a time when information was moving slowly, and anybody after Nirvana, anybody who had an acoustic electric guitar and a Marshall amp, you're getting looked at by a major label. It was probably the easiest time in the history of music to get signed. And luckily, we were part of that big web, never comparing ourselves to Nirvana, just how easy it was to get signed if you're a rock band.
Yeah.
So luckily, we got signed to, we kind of hoodwinked Atlantic Records. But all of a sudden, careful what you ask for. Now we got to make a record, and we don't know how to write music. We've got 2 joke songs that we wrote. We were a visual band. We got signed off a video. Our buddy, my best friend McGee, who happened to be the de facto manager of Sugar Ray, who's now a director. He's done a ton of movies.
Angels and all that.
Charlie's Angels, Lethal Weapon reboots his. He's directing that.
Yeah.
So he's really become luckily that was a bit of serendipity to have him part of the posse, if you will. Wow. And we made a great video. We said, look, we're not going to get anybody listening to us on Lick Me and Caboose. You know, you can just
sure enough.
Let's see, the visual component's kind of fun. So we had a quick editing MTV ready video on 35 millimeter film, which is ready to go. And the labels were impressed by that sort of wherewithal and moxie. Like, I don't know about the song, but I like what I'm seeing here. And they just signed us to a 2 record multi-million-dollar deal just on that one
And so
song.
now you had to come up with an album and you had to write new shit.
We'd never written more than 2 songs. Now we got to write 12, just like you said. So we're writing as we go along. Now it's becoming a full-time job though now. So now we're becoming better musicians. We're becoming better songwriters.
Professionals.
Did you bring people in?
Professionals.
Did you bring other musicians in who
Not
had
to
more
write. No, we
Okay.
should have. We weren't that smart at first. We also thought we were self-contained. If we got signed on our own, we'll do it on our own. Blah blah blah. And they kind of left us alone. To their credit, Atlantic Records.
Was there a huge excitement? Like, yes,
No.
oh, we got signed. We got signed. I can't believe it. And then
For
you're
us-
sitting around going, we got to write a goddamn album now.
No, we just said, if the worst comes to worst is we got signed and a record never comes out, because those were the numbers back then. In the early 90s, 20 bands got signed a year. 11 ever released a record. Of those 11, 3 were successful. Those were the numbers. So the odds were against you after you did the most impossible thing in the world, which is get a record deal. So it was just stacked up
I think
against you.
comedy's the same way. You see it with a lot of like comics who get really famous based on their 10 years of work.
Yeah.
And now all eyes on you. When's your next special? Hurry up. Let's see it. And as a comic, you're trying to write. You see it with a lot of people. Everybody. You got to keep churning out funny because you're supposedly the funniest person in the world.
And then it
takes
suffers,
a
right?
long-
B?
Yeah,
because
it takes a long time.
Because comedians can't play their greatest hits. They
Right.
can't do their greatest hits.
No.
Imagine that.
Nope.
They've got to write a hit record every time you go out,
That's
once
right.
a year.
I'm going back to Calgary this weekend. I cannot do the same jokes I did
Never.
last year. I have to go with, it never, the responsibility kind of never goes away.
And going back to music, how has the game changed? Because now you have YouTube, you have, everything's streaming now. There's no one's buying albums. No one's going to Best Buy buying albums. So for you guys to hit at that point, which was, a miracle in itself.
Yes.
Now I feel like there's easier access to a fan base, but it's so much more competitive. Because if Brian and I want to start a band tomorrow, we can upload to YouTube now.
And we're
get
gonna
a lot of
start-
followers immediately.
We're going to start a band. And we just found our fucking lead singer. But keep going. Oh yeah,
I'm joining, baby.
You're not leaving.
You guys are hungry now.
You're not leaving this room until we write a song.
I'll get my stink on your train immediately, buddy.
Dude,
Believe
we're
me.
going to write a
So
song
funny.
before you.
You know what I'm saying though, Mark? Like it used to be because it was kind of natural where you would have someone would see you, discover you, and then now you get a contract, and then you're going on tour, then you're doing an album, there's album art, then you're doing appearances. Well, now it's like to get noticed, it's tough, man. It's easier to get your material out there, but much more difficult to make a living doing it.
That's the whole long and short of it. I always tell everybody, the good news is everybody can do it now. That's also the bad news.
Yeah.
And, if you want to make a living as a musician now, I mean, you can get to a little bit of point, you get 10,000 followers, you might go to a club and you got 100 people, a little song gets a little like viral motion, and that's your career. But in terms of having a lengthy career, and like people say, rock's not dead, it's like kind of in vogue for rockers to fight against it. Rock's not dead, but it's becoming a specialty market. Like when jazz kind of died, when rock took over. Jazz used to be most popular, big band, that was the most popular thing in America. Sure. Then rock and roll took over. Rock and roll is 60 years old now, man. It's as old as jazz was.
So what's going to take its place?
Well, DJs. DJs are the new rock star, and hip hop hasn't gone anywhere. Hip hop's still there. But in terms of sales, it's gone. So I just think that we're not going to find any more as many artists each year. And as far as rock bands go, every now and then something sneaks in, like 21 Pilots or something like that. But they're almost on the cusp of them. They're almost an EDM band if you listen to them. There's a lot of electronic things happening in their band. So it's just, I don't say rock's not dying, but becoming a niche market. And you ask, some people ask me, like, what's going on? The people at the labels don't know what's going on. So how can I tell you what's going on?
What if a band like Led Zeppelin came along today? What do you think would happen to U2 today?
I think Led Zeppelin's so great that
they'd finally,
I think what we're talking about, they'd find a little pocket on the internet and be like, you see this really cool, like retro Led Zeppelin band. But are we calling them retro, or is it today's Led Zeppelin? Brian, or are you just talking Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, well, I don't, I mean, I always wonder about those giants that they were prodigiously talented.
I think
they would, right?
And people do that in sports. Like, what if Michael Jordan's playing now?
Yeah.
There's something about them that makes them special,
Yes.
whether it's
They'd find their way.
1970 or 2016.
That's right.
It does not matter.
It was unstoppable.
They're superstars for a reason. It's not because they got
That's a
lucky
good
or a
point.
time period. It never works
That's
like
a good
that.
point.
That's
But
really true.
With Blink-182, I remember my trainer, and he used to work in the music industry, and he goes, yeah, he's English. He was born and raised in England. He's saying, when they came to America, he saw him at I think it was the VMAs, and they're like, new band, Blink-182, and he's like, they've been out for 5 years, but that's the way they introduced them. But they've been grinding away, and they had this cult-like following. But when they finally hit the mainstream, it's like introducing a new band. And they're like, we've been doing this for quite some time.
Right, but like they were funny because we used to play with them down in San Diego, and they were just club bands. They literally just took the slow train, building up followers the right way, and that's why they can still do it today and sell at Irvine Meadows. Is because
exactly.
They just did it all the right way. They made great music, and like if anybody ever said they're lame, that's news to me. Like I'm an old man, I'm kind of out of pocket these days, but like if Blink-182 is lame, what are we? Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a new name for us, I guess.
Well, but who is as a front man, who is your favorite? Who do you think is the ultimate front man of all time?
Well, for me, it's Johnny Rotten. I named my son Lydon for a reason, because it's what he did to me. Johnny Rotten, they have one record, and the impact they had on the industry still being felt today.
Really?
They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He gave me the balls, if you will, to get up on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, I never would have before, because I'm old enough to remember the Led Zeppelins, the Yeses of the world, these virtuoso musicians that I couldn't even touch, and these 8-octave range singers that, like, it was just being a rock star was so foreign to me. And like also Guns N' Roses, the talent level of that, I was familiar with that. And until Nirvana came along, not to discourage their musicianship, but playing the 3 chords in punk rock, sort of rock and roll they did, it broke open doors for all of us. And we were kind of all sort of doing that in Orange County, and just because of a lack of abilities, really. But that kind of inspired us to become better as musicians and as songwriters. But Johnny Rotten is the reason why I stepped on stage. It's just if you have attitude and wherewithal and will, and you go, I am singing to you now for the next hour, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
it takes a.
Well, because they said that Robert Plant, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, was so influential that if you look at every band, I guess in the 90s, these are kids that grew up with Led Zeppelin. Every band, think about it. From Guns N' Roses to, Motley Crue.
Sure.
I mean, to everybody.
Korn,
every single
Disturbed,
one of those guys, every one of the lead singers had long hair and a high voice.
You're right.
Long blonde hair and a high voice. And that's how influential they were. Like, literally every major band was all singing like, I mean, Jesus. Sorry. Sorry about I got a high voice. Dude, you heard it from Mark McGrath first.
But in entertainment and sports, everything and style, you name it, everything's copycat. Everything's copycat. If someone sets that standard, you'll see everyone try to mimic it.
Yeah.
But they put their spin on it, but they're doing a recreation.
Sure. No, you're right. You're exactly right. And that's why you're astute at saying about the Led Zeppelin influence. Because like if you listen to Korn, you don't hear Led Zeppelin, but they're influenced by him. But Led Zeppelin was the first band to concentrate on a record. Let's make the record top to bottom good. And we'll do like a concept record, and they were really into that, making every song means something. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, name a bad Led Zeppelin song.
I
That's pretty
can't.
hard to do. You know, I mean, it's
a
like
really good point.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything
fucking
was so
good
well
point.
crafted. Whether you loved it or didn't, you certainly liked it.
It's not like that anymore, is it though?
No.
Because
When's the last
now
time you listened to a record top to bottom that was new? You
That-
bought
that's
new.
what
Hey,
I'm
it's new
saying.
21 Pilots is awesome. You heard it top to bottom?
Yeah.
It's
been a long
doesn't
time.
exist anymore.
No.
They're not writing the same. But the other thing is I was talking to a music artist I won't mention, but they were saying to make money nowadays, obviously they're streaming now. They don't see really any money of that. Not
no
really
money.
at all. It's all in touring. Merchandise
Mm-hmm.
is huge. For Bieber, they're saying his merchandise is insane. Kanye West. So touring is where they're making their money. So now albums, streaming, the hits on you hear on the radio, that's not their moneymaker. That's their marketing.
Yeah,
that's
their
them to
marketing.
say, come buy a ticket to watch us do this live now and buy shirts out the back.
But you know, you still have to have people hear you to go see you.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is like, which is where the big sort of dichotomy comes from. Because if you look at the last touring artists for the last 20 years, they're the same people making the top 10 and Polestar. Same people. It's Pearl Jam, it's the Rolling Stones, it's U2. Like, there's nobody coming to fill that void. There's a couple arena acts sniffing around, but I'm talking like that legacy act that's going to sell out amphitheaters and arenas for the
No
rest of their
matter
lives
what,
and
yeah.
stadiums.
Yeah.
They're not coming.
They're in their 60s.
You're right. They're in their 60s. So when this old cello thing, I mean, they're trying to get the most out of every dollar. They're putting Bob Dylan out there on a stick and going, get out there and just open your mouth.
your thing, man.
You know what I mean?
The Eagles are still make, you know.
But yeah, they're still doing
and
their thing.
that's where how you were saying like these DJs. Like I watched the documentary on DJ Aoki, and
Yeah.
he in a calendar year he hit the most countries ever, and you can call him musician, whatever you want to call him, but the most countries ever. I think he traveled 300 days out of the year, 300 shows. A little different because
I'm impressed by that, but
I'm impressed 'cause
there's
the
a
traveling-
giant asterisk on that. Gigantic.
That's why I want to get your opinion on this because, you know, I'm sure, and I'm going to get heat for this, I'm sure DJing's hard and stuff like that, but it's literally like, Denmark, what's up? And play.
I mean, I would.
And play.
And where's my $1 million? I mean, Calvin Harris.
Australia, great to see you. Hit it.
Jesus.
And I'll see you tomorrow in Tokyo on my private plane that took, you know, so like.
He's making the crowds are like 80,000. Just
God,
people
I-
like, "Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da."
Just drugs.
Yeah,
Just fucking like
booze,
Molly.
ecstasy,
But-
Molly,
but-
birthday cakes. I
it's a
guess he
little
throws a
different.
birthday cake every
Yeah, he
night.
throws
and
a birthday
That's the big
cake.
thing.
But
I think he
it's different
spends
than what
half
you
the
guys
time in the
did.
crowd on being on stage. And
So I'm so before you answer this, I'm so new to this. I remember going to Vegas and everybody's. I'm older. I'm 49.
Yeah, I'm same.
Right. So I'm going there and I'm like, all right. And they're talking about Mousehead. Is that what his name is?
Danger Mouse.
Whatever the fuck his name,
huge.
dude. I'm telling you.
Mousehead.
When I don't know.
You're looking for
Dead mouse.
You're looking for
Dead
Dead
mouse.
Mouse.
Dead
Danger
Mouse.
Mouse.
Bro,
no, there is
Danger
a,
Mouse?
No, there is a Danger Mouse though. The producer.
Oh, there's a Danger Mouse.
Well, this
there
was
is.
It's
this
Dead
was
Mouse.
Dead
What'd you
Mouse.
say, Mousehead?
Oh, yeah, Mousehead.
Three-time Rock and Roll Jeopardy champion.
For me, it's fucking Mousehead. and bro, I'm in Vegas. I'm at this place. I'm at the wherever it was, and everybody's like, "You gotta come to this." And everybody, you could feel the air.
He's a big deal,
And
man.
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
this dude with a fucking giant electronic mouse head
It
comes
was
out.
sick coloring and
And,
stuff.
yeah, and he's like,
Electronics.
and people are like, ah! And I thought to myself, you fucking genius. You put a giant electronic mouse head on your, and he calls himself Dead Mouth. There's something amazing about that, but I was
Right.
just looking at this wave of undulating humanity with obviously dopamine. Their dopamine receptors. They've been, everybody's popping just fucking
Candyland. It's Candyland.
Woo! And I was just watching. What an experiment.
Limbic brain just getting overworked. And
I
just,
mean,
you know,
but it's
Jesus.
different
I'm
than
just
what
jealous
you
of
do.
that. I'm
It's-
jealous of that because there's no crew. It's like, you know, you got your buddy and you go, there's nothing set up, there's
Sure.
no crew, there's no band, there's no attitude. It's just you in
Yeah.
a private plane and you're $60 million a year you make. You're $60 million a year. You're basically playing music that you didn't have to create. You just
Plus,
moved it around a little bit.
no
You don't have to
vocals.
There's
sing.
definitely got to be a talent to putting it all together.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to knock it. I am jealous
know
of it.
music.
I would love to be a part of it. I don't understand it. I think I hit that, I finally hit that thing where I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I used to.
I'm out.
I'm out. I'm tapping out. I'll take the
I'm
Beatles,
out,
the
yeah.
Stones, and Beach Boys, and
Yeah.
on my way.
Deady Mouse, I'm out.
Not really. I hung in there for a while, and then the mouse heads and Danger Mouses come in there, and that's but I'm just, and it's kind of a bummer for me because it hit plateaued for me. I'm like, okay, I'm tapping out here. I don't do them all. I used to. I used to be really good at that stuff.
Were you,
I used to be really good at that stuff.
Did you go through your?
That was my thing.
I was in a band. I was in a lead singer in a band who barely could play, and we're like, what are we gonna do now?
Could barely
Shit
play.
backstage, man. Let's make sure we take care of that.
Now I have to ask you because as a
Don't qualify. Let it go.
No, as a man who looked a beautiful front man, sexiest man, all that bullshit. There are probably some girls. On the road.
There's a ton of chicks on the road. Probably it's on your difference, lying or protecting something.
No, but dealing with that must have been its own entity. That must have been its own sort of strange.
Well, it was just really
reality.
Fun. I was so happy to be a part of it, and I knew it could end at any second. I mean, we named our second most successful record after our first record, 14 minutes and 59 seconds, as a sort of tip of the cap to Warhol's 15 minutes of fame.
That's great.
We get it. We know exactly where we're working. And tomorrow, it's the music business. And I'd seen a couple of friends of mine in hip hop bands go up the mountain.
Yeah.
Beautiful home. Jealous as hell. Going, oh my God, I'll never have this. A year and a half later, they're coming down broke and I'm going back up. I'm like, I could be 18 months from now, it could be the same thing. So I just appreciated every day and I partied like it was such, luckily I had a long leash and I barked at the end of that chain, you know what I mean? And but I just, luckily I showed up and, and I never I didn't have to go anywhere or stop.
You always knew.
I still like a shot of Jameson every now and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you always knew this was going to end.
I knew it was going to end. And I knew it was like, I'm not going to become this. But I'm going to maximize the hell out of it.
What made you realize that? Because most, athletes, famous musicians, it's way too late by the time they realize that.
Yeah, well, I never got into the hard stuff. Never got into anything that was like body dependent. You know what I mean? So like, I made some mistakes. I'd be late here and there, maybe not the best performances, but you kind of straighten yourself out. The road straightens you out. As you can't. The road has been there for years. You don't do the road how you want to do it. Right. You find out, okay, let's, after the first couple nights, let's get rid of that bottle of Jaeger. That might not be the best idea every night.
Yeah.
I'm going to limit my intake to, maybe I'll drink an hour window before the start of the
tired.
Maybe I won't drink it until after the show. You find out what works for you.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to do it for a while.
Did you have a good business manager or agent or something that was like, hey, Mark, don't buy that house in the hills for $20 million. Maybe let's go for $5 million here in Calabasas.
Well, luckily, our success came later in life. We hit when I was 29. So like I said, I saw the horror stories coming up and down. They were friends of mine, people I was hanging out, and I was like, whoa, it was gnarly. This guy was driving a Beamer last year, and he's leasing a whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's horror stories.
There's nothing sadder.
No,
there's really nothing.
So I was fear-based.
Yeah,
I was fear-based. And my dad, really smart man, is financer in Orange County. So I had a nice infrastructure there. My best friend McGee is always a straight-laced, great guy. I was always on it, and and my manager, still my manager today after 26 years. They'd shake me up and go, dude, and they never preached, dude, just have some fun, do your thing. There's a job to do until it's done.
You were raised. I was raised, with traditional values, like
that Irish Catholic fear, you know what I mean?
Raised not to be a complete fucking idiot.
No, and to say yes and say thank you every now and then. Remember some names, and God bless it. It's got me a few jobs here in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I've had people come up to me and go, you weren't the most talented host, but you remembered every crew member's name.
That
and that's
goes
why you
a
got
long
the job.
way.
That's why you got the 6-figure job. Yeah. I'm like, really? Thank you, Mom, Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it was probably a 3-pronged attack. Being raised right, having good people surrounding me, and knowing how fragile this thing was. At the same time, I was going to have a good time. That train wasn't going to be stopped.
To me, that's a sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
Like whenever I see someone just wiling out, I'm like, oh, they're just not. They don't realize what's going on here.
But also, there's a pain involved, and there's things working that, like I heard you talking about Blazarian. You kind of changed my thoughts on him, because I just knew as a surface guy, and I didn't hear the Joe Rogan podcast. So I was listening to yours, and I was glad to hear the guy. At least he knows he's self-aware. Nothing less attractive than a person does not know they're self-aware.
That's right.
Be a giant douche, which is great, but admit it. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest thing, is being self-aware, and also I think realizing you're not the tree, you might be a leaf on a large tree. And there's nothing wrong with that. Having perspective of where you fit in the grand pantheon of humanity.
And that was your problem with him before you heard the podcast.
Yeah, it's always been my when people
with Kim
are
Kardashian.
Yeah, when people are that willing to celebrate themselves. And sparkle that brightly on the surface.
Well, they think the sun revolves around.
Yeah, the cultural landscape.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
My question for you, Mark, is the band.
That 180 you did, because I was on the same mental speak. So
he seems like the kind of guy we could all have a beer with, and he seems like he gets it.
He'd be like, wink, wink, dude. You know what I mean? Look, everybody's got their hustle.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted the fame. I had a hustle. We had a band. I just wanted to make it happen. Yeah. And like you said something really smart. Once I get to that plateau, I'll figure out what my next thing is. You know, once I get to the top of the mountain, look around, well, I'll go down and check out the next mountain.
The hustle
but the
doesn't
view's the
stop.
same.
The view's all the same, but
That
the
was very
hustle
smart.
never stops.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing. The hustle never stops. And when it does, you're probably
you
gonna have to
stop.
sell that house.
You stop.
You're gonna go from a Beamer to something else. Unless you have rich parents, the hustle does not
We
stop.
even talk about that too. Like you get to a point where like you got this great job and you know it's a big deal and it's
We can't
great
say what it
money.
is, right? We've hinted at it.
I'll
but
tell you off.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks,
but it's
brother.
really
It's
a
awesome.
great job. But it's also good money and everything else, and it's
Good
like
for
a
you.
huge accomplishment because he went through all this stuff. And what the greatest thing is, he said, "I said, dude, I'm so proud of you. This is so. I can't even believe it. It's incredible. Like, because my biggest worry, because I loved him so much, was here's this fighter, sense of humor, really intelligent, but what's he gonna do?
Right.
You know how hard it is to make it in this business. So the other day, I even said this on stage. He said, dude, I'm on set. I can't. I'm not getting
Great
off.
set.
I'm not getting off until 1 a.m. I'm on set, and he's like, God, he goes, God damn it. And I stop for a second, and I text him back, and I go, hey, brother, man, welcome to the 1% or less. There are a million entertainments or actors that would like to say, I can't make it. I'll be on set till 1. Just once in their life. And what he said though is when he got the job and it was official and it'd been a long process, he goes, you know how it is, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Now the real work starts. And I went, well, there it is. Well,
It's
and
a smart
amen,
man. You know,
you're
God bless you.
fucking right.
Right. And you know what? You deserve the job. You're going to be there a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you're so right, dude, because I've been lucky to say on set. You know what I mean? And I'm a guy who comes in for a day or two. Sharknado.
You've
2
been
and
on
3.
set.
You know what I mean? It's so I'm sitting there in this like the crappiest trailer ever. I'm taking like selfies and everything. I'm showing up my second grade soccer team going, hey, your boy's still here in Hollywood. Didn't really tell them the movie I was tagging.
boy's
Hashtag, you know
still
what I'm saying? We're still making movies in Hollywood. You know?
Doing the damn thing.
I had earrings passing by. I'm like, yeah, me and the homie from, you know what I mean? So it was, but you're right. I felt the same. I'm so lucky to be here. I'm sure there no air. We're in the downtown LA sweating. I couldn't be more stoked. You know what I mean?
100%. It's called perspective.
With your band Sugar Ray, I always find this stuff fascinating. Is you're dealing with and you see how many bands break up or how many comic duos break up or shows where they hate each other or
Comic duos. What is this, vaudeville?
Yeah, right. Like Robin Big. I mean, they had the world by the balls,
I
but
know.
fame and different directions.
Money.
They're cool now. Money comes involved.
I think Big Black tried to make a little cash. Maybe Rob wasn't seeing it.
Well, Big Black thought, he was the star, and that's why they're watching. Rob's like, well, this is my battleship.
Yeah.
I invite you on the ship.
Right.
It doesn't work. So whatever egos got
right.
involved.
Right.
With your band, did you guys obviously had to figure it out.
Absolutely.
But there's ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a lot of resentment. There still is. There's still some, two original guys left a couple years ago in the band. And of course, like every depressing part 4 behind the music. And then they sued the original members. I mean, it's like,
true?
I remember watching the Loverboy one like in 99 going, we'll never be that. We got number 1 song. We love each other. We're going partying tonight. I go, these guys, why can't they figure it out? Come on, it's just music, And then now we're those guys.
God damn it.
And I'm like, what happened?
God damn it.
I'm in a litigation room with Marty Singer going, how did this happen?
Oh, no.
What's going on? And my former best, it was just really it's weird. But and we're a band that we all kind of co-wrote the songs ourselves. And so once we saw what Fly generated musically, the whole bro, you showed up and you were outside when we wrote this, we'll give you 10%. That just goes away. That 10% turned into millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm pissed off because I gave that away. And then this guy's pissed off. You know what I mean? And so there was a lot of money just brings this weird change to bands. And people always go, why can't you just get along? Well, why don't you just call your ex-girlfriend and go bang her?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because
Doesn't
that's
work like
why.
that.
Whatever happened there, it happened between you guys and your girl or guy, whatever it was. That's why you just don't go play music together.
But I think a good way to look at that
Yeah,
is
that's
to
a great point.
It's
It's
a
the
great
truth.
point. It's a great point because but there's another way. Like he and I are always reminding each other that this thing only works because of this chemistry, whatever
right.
that we do, right? So it's never going to work with anybody else. He dies, I die, it's done.
Right.
I replace him, take your pick. There's a chemistry there.
Without a doubt.
And I think it's really always important to, like in any kind of situation like that, whatever that chemistry is, whatever that weird chemistry, you're always going to have one dude who's going to give 10%, the other guy's giving 90. Sometimes the guy's giving 50%, the other guy's 50. But usually it's somebody's doing more than somebody else.
That's right.
It's just the way it is because they're better at something. And however, if you start counting on percentages and you start divvying shit up that way, it's just like a marriage. You're going to run into some fucking problems, because what matters is preserving that chemistry, respecting and preserving whatever it is that magic thing that only works when you're together, when you're supportive, when you're having fun.
That's right.
And I don't give a fuck about anything else, because the minute you start worrying about
counting,
man, oh man, you're in trouble, because he does all the merchandise, the business. He doesn't even let me get involved. Like, I'll be like, he's like, I got it.
Right.
He's just really good at that
But
shit.
it's what he does.
It's how he thinks.
Delegation.
He's an entrepreneur.
Delegation's
He's a maniac.
huge.
Yeah. I'll just fuck up I'll get in the way. I'll try to do some stuff, and but whatever you want to call it, that's what works.
That's right.
That's what works.
I always say 40% of something is a lot better than 100% of nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's something our band didn't really realize. A few people, like, so at the peak of Sugar Ray's sort of songwriting abilities, when we were just writing songs, people were, we were responding every morning, someday when it's over, fly, top 10 songs, number 1 songs. People got a little ornery and went outside the band and started trying to write with other people. No one had ever written a song by themselves before. It was us 4 together writing music, and that's when the first fracture came, and we never recovered from that. Wow. Never, ever.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of times, maybe it's in music, I can't even play I couldn't play the cowbell.
I can't either, dude. I'm sitting here talking to you. As a musician.
Yeah. But I think a lot of times people forget what got them to the dance.
That's right.
It's like, it's the chemistry. You two, like, I was in this meeting the other day, I didn't even tell you this, and the guy goes, Brian's busy. What do you think about doing this show? I went, whoa, do what? And he goes, it's similar, but if Brian can't be there, we'll have this guy do it. I went, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
What you don't realize is did
he know he was talking to?
Yeah, I'm like, what do you do? It's not like we're just business associates here. Like, we're best friends.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't work like that. I should fire you for even mentioning that, because you should understand that when you get lightning in a bottle, you better fucking hang on, man. Because when that lightning escapes, there's no replacing it, man. You just can't do it.
Why don't we understand that as human beings, though? Why don't we understand that?
That's why they're agents and managers.
Yeah.
Because if they understood that, they would be sitting here. They would have a guitar in their hand.
Well said. But why don't we involved in, like, you two, my band? Why don't we understand that? We've got the world by the balls. We're so lucky. Make 4 million, look 5 million. What's the difference? We're making million. You know what I mean? It's like, what is the self-saboteur amongst us that does that?
You know what? You don't deserve it, maybe? No, you're never satisfied. Never satisfied. If 4 years ago when I was fighting UFC, just grinding it out, getting punched in the face, someone said, listen, Schaub, in 4 years, you're going to have this huge platform. You're going to be hosting this show, you're going to be doing this.
Bigger than ever.
You're going to be living here.
Yeah.
You're actually not going to fight, and your life's going to be better. I would have laughed in your face.
And you're going to tell jokes for a living,
right,
on a podcast that gets 4 million downloads a month.
That's incredible.
I would have laughed, but at the same time, are you going to be happy? I'm like, fuck yeah, and you're going to be satisfied. Everything's all good. You're going to be driving this, living here, healthy son. Is that your? And I'm like, well, that sounds like a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here I am today, and I'm still hungrier than ever.
God bless
but that's
you.
also what got Sugar Ray banned. It's what breaks you, and I think what makes you.
You're right.
Because if you're never satisfied, you're constantly striving for more.
No, you're right.
Constantly
Like I'm dumb enough to think I can still do things in this business. That's how stupid I am.
But
you know what I mean? I just like, but I also
join the club though. You have to be that way.
Well, yeah. I'm also a guy that, like, thought I could be in a band and write number 1 songs and couldn't sing or write songs.
Boom.
So, like, I just have this weird dreamer mentality, and I still don't think I'm done in this. My band moved back down to Orange County. Everybody's back down. I just don't think I'm done in this city.
What do you think drives you? Did you think what drives you, is it the idea that you have something special inside of you, or do you think what drives you is probably fundamentally unhealthy? I've always questioned that with myself.
Boy, that's I think it dances the ugly line right down the
Good
middle,
God,
and it's
does it
gray.
ever.
Fuck, right?
I think it's gray area, and I don't know. Each beast is kind of valuable in its own way.
Right. Like, I was wondering about that with myself. Like, what is it? Because the other day I started thinking about, because you said the only time I think I'm ever in the moment is when I'm. What were you saying? When
I'm doing stand-up.
When you're doing stand-up.
Or when I'm doing a job.
Or when
Boy,
you're doing a job.
is there any more real?
It's the only time I'm present and in the moment.
What about facing Mirko? What's scarier, Mirko or stand-up? I mean, seriously, that Mirko.
You
fight
had to be
too.
in the moment then.
I mean, because Mirko come out pride. He was kicking a lot of ass.
Yeah.
These thighs were just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I saw you in there. I saw you rise in UFC.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
you're fighting Mirko.
I know.
What was scarier, the first night stand-up or the first Mirko? Or is it comparable?
They're just different. Great question, Mark. They're just different. I think with
I used to host, actually.
I think with stand up, I feel almost a little more pressure because, I mean, I don't look that funny. Like I didn't.
Good looking comics, man. People get angry at.
I didn't grow up doing it. People are kind of, I already have kind of the crowd against me because they're like, "What the? For sure, teach us how to box. What the fuck are you doing with the mic?"
He didn't even want to tell me. He didn't want to tell me that he was, because his dream is he loves comedy.
Sure.
And his dream was to
funny.
try it, like to try it. He didn't want to tell me because he thought I'd judge him or something.
Well, is it an insult to you? And I've talked to Fitzsimmons about this a few times because I've gone, now I got a few yucks, you know what I mean? Can I ever get up there? And it's insulting to comics who spent these years on the road. The Artie Langs of the world, yourself, the Greg Fitzsimmons, the Brian Regans, man. It's almost embarrassing to go, hey, dude, we're going to jump on stage. We can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I know we're funny. I know I'm funny. Yeah. Like, oh, my friends say we're so funny.
No, I never think of it that way, actually. I never think of it as insulting. What I think is, first of all, I admire anybody who has the guts to do it. So
this is what I'm going to say. I don't mean to interrupt you because what my initial thing was, there is nothing scarier to me than going up with. I go up with a band, hits behind me that I can play hits over and over. And if I don't play the hits, they're going to be angry with me. You go up there with a microphone, and people crossed arms go, "Make me laugh, funny man." Yeah. And so not only you can't even surprise him with your humor. No. Like, oh, this is a funny guy to party. Let's hang around him a little bit. Yeah. Let's gravitate towards him. You got 2 strikes. You got 2.5 strikes against you, Brandon. You know what I mean? And it's there's nothing more impressive to me and more I bow down to than the balls of a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, but I think for the most part, it's also like anything else. You prepare for it. You do it for a long time. It's what you're supposed to do. You probably have a natural bit of a sense of humor the way you think. So that all falls into place. But whenever I hear somebody's trying it, I always kind of admire. The first thing I do is I admire it, and I always let them know that no matter who you are, it's going to take a long time, because that's just communicating with an audience in that comedic form is very difficult. Mm-hmm. And I even say to Brendan, and he knows this, like, you're talking about a guy who you want to talk about a baptism of fire. I was making this dude, like, he was writing, not making him do anything, but he was writing stand-up. He's coming up with these ideas. And then he comes to me and goes, "Do you think this is funny? Try this." And I go, "I don't know." I go, "Fuck you, go out there." 1,000 people. The first time he ever did stand up, think about this, was 1,000 people in a theater yelling and screaming. And they're all here to see Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub. And I go, and he's like, "Do you think this part?" I go, "Fuck you, go out there." And then he would have to just go out there.
You just threw him. Did you know you were doing it
in front of 1,000 people? So it's when I see that, it's not insulting at all for me. I just go, "Look at this motherfucker! Look at this! Look at this!" And when I see new people doing it, I'm going to see that they're not going to be. It's difficult. It's not going to be. You're not going to be crushing for 20 minutes right away.
Right.
But you can always see when somebody is working in earnest and trying something. Right. So I never think of it.
I was the same way as you,
Mark.
Mark.
It's a very kind attitude you have. And one I thought is probably not shared by most comedians.
Well, no, I said the same thing to you because Rogan's like, probably 2 years ago, was like, "Dude, I'm telling you should try stand-up." And I was like, "I'm embarrassed, man. I feel like it's insulting. It's like a guy jumping right to the UFC."
Right.
Rogan's like, "Not really. Like, there's so many places you can do it. You're not open up on your HBO special. Like, just go out there and try it." I felt the same.
Yeah.
The exact same.
You're almost disrespecting the medium, going, "I'm going to get up there and like these genius minds I'm just going to compete with."
Yeah. Wait, Jim Carrey does this, and I'm gonna fucking go.
Right.
What the fuck?
I mean, but it's personal, and you tell good stories and funny stories.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the anomaly, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's the unicorn.
You are the unicorn. You are the
but if you
living unicorn.
If you can tell a funny story, you can do stand-up. I mean, that's the first place I would start with anybody. I'd say, tell a funny story, your funniest story, and then use that as the sort of skeleton to fill in with meat.
But also work. It's a shitload of work.
It's a lot of work.
Well, there's situational funny.
It's a lot of work.
There's situational funny, then there's editorial funny, right?
Yes.
I mean, some people can be funny room, something falls, "Oh, dude, you're hitting the ball." Yeah. Then there's like, "Oh, so I was at the beach the other day," and it's setting up and then what is your rhythm? What is your tone?
Tempo.
What's your
rhythm?
What's your rhythm? What,
we had a
very good point.
And
It's very much like music.
I won't say his or her name, but this person lashed out at me because we're selling out theaters and clubs and stuff like that, and I said we're going back and forth on text, and he or she put, listen, Brendan, I've been grinding on the road at these shit cities for 8 years, blah blah blah. You just walk in to send out theaters, you don't know what it's like. While I'm sending out theaters, you were just sleeping in satin sheets. And I went, I get that. I didn't follow the normal comic route, send out these theaters. I get that. However, let's not forget, while you were in your cozy bed at night and getting ready for your set, I was getting punched in the face by the toughest men in the world.
Training 7 hours a day.
Granted, paid my dues in a different avenue.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was
being naked. You mean going out there in your underwear and fighting monsters in front of millions of people?
We were both performing.
Right.
I was just getting punched in the face.
Don't get my work ethic twisted.
Right.
Yeah,
you know
Walk
what I'm saying?
the gauntlet, get pat down, have your teeth checked and everything else, your cup checked, and then go out there and fight those guys.
You can keep that.
and
That's the
perform.
scariest stuff.
Do it in Brazil.
Yeah.
Have fun in Brazil.
my
when they're screaming, kill him, kill him, kill him.
Where was
That's a
your?
good
You
time.
guys have been all over. Mark, where's your favorite place to perform?
God, I love Japan. Japan is great because, well, the thing is, I've never felt such culture shock, but felt so comfortable at home.
Are
Some
they
of those
loud
beautiful
there?
people.
Are they loud?
Not at all.
Because a fight in Japan is literally the clap like this. That's it. There's no like.
There is a 6-second, and then there's this weird, it's like time you got to fill. You're like, all right, let me try my comedy bits here.
Very polite.
Yeah, they're so polite, and nice, and and you're like, wow, I guess they're not digging it. You know, it's like a low energy night tonight. Then you go outside the back, door of the theater, and there's thousands of people lined up. They're falling on the bullet trains, and there's a real fan appreciation there in Japan that we never lost. Still to this day, we'll go over there and still play like theaters, and we'll play the big festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't like really judge trends. If they like you, you've got a fan forever. Which is really great. And the people are just beautiful there. Such great spirits, and with 33 million people in one city, and they figure it out, and there's not all this crime, and they respect each other. It's it's a beautiful culture. Through and through, aesthetically, spiritually, I really love Japan a lot.
It's funny you mentioned Japan. Last night I was watching, and I think it was new last night, but it's the show on Viceland where they go into just these weird subcultures. And last night they went to Japan, and it was the Yokozuna, right? That's their mafia there. It was
Yakuza.
Yakuza. There you go.
Yokozuna was the
WWF wrestler. Yeah, right?
Sumo wrestler,
Yeah. So the Yakuza, and then there's Yakuza, and then there's
Yakuza.
other gangs there. I guess they do these street fights, and they're just showing how they control Japan. But they went in to show. Then I don't know how this guy had access. He was a former MMA fighter who was involved in all that. So everyone was cool with him. But they interviewed the Yakuza. They interviewed these other gang members. Then he allowed them in his camera to come in and film this street fight. And that's how they make a name for themselves.
What kind of fighting, Brandon? Is it like man-to-man sportsman, or is it like
No gloves, Valley Tudo, only stand up.
Right.
Was it Ensign Inoue?
Was it what?
Was it Ensign Inoue who they had on the show? Former Pride fighter? Because he's got a shitload of ties to the Yakuza.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Huge guy, shaved head.
Yep.
Maybe.
It's Kid Yamamoto's uncle, I believe.
You might have to look it up. He's older.
Yeah.
Ensign Inoue. Yeah, he fought in the 90s.
Yeah. But they were showing him, and then the Yakuza, man, they even had footage of this Yakuza. He's one of the head guys, and he's in this restaurant, and he doesn't like the service he's getting, and someone has a hidden camera, and he's beating the shit out of the manager and the waitress.
No.
I was like, what is going on right now? But they're talking about a lot of these young men in Japan. There's not a lot of jobs. The economy in Japan is just shit. It's been shit for a while. And they're saying a lot of these guys can't get jobs. So now they're looking at these gangs and doing all this other stuff. It's never been higher on the rise.
Wow. I didn't know that.
The Japanese, when the Portuguese were trading with them, the one thing they said, because of they were so privy to the samurai culture, because Japan had been essentially in a low-grade civil war for 300 years, because it was essentially all shoguns who then would have, it was like they'd own parts land, and they had to defend that land against another shogun. So they would hire ronin, they would hire their own samurai. Wow. And so Japan was always at war.
Well, what they're saying, what they're saying now is because the Yakuza, they still run that country. They have their hands in everything, but they passed a new law where if a cop sees a Yakuza hanging out anywhere, they can arrest them on the spot.
Racketeering law.
So now you don't see them. So now you have all these little gangs forming because they can't arrest these other gangs forming.
Right.
So you have all these young men.
You got the junior squads out there, right?
You atomize
and they're getting
and
they're getting big, but they're not in suits like the Yakuza.
Oh, then there's going to be like an infrastructure war amongst the hierarchy and the new guys.
The Japanese have always been like the Portuguese. After they finished trading, they came back to Europe and they said, whatever you do, don't give the Japanese gunpowder. They are a warlike group of motherfuckers and very organized, and they have this fanatical devotion to authority. In medieval Japan, the idea of committing seppuku, and that went all the way up past World War II. If you were dishonored, even if you were late and you had dishonored your sort of superior, you would ask permission to commit seppuku, to kill yourself, because you didn't want him to lose face. I mean, there was a fanatical sort of almost erotic. Right. A lot of people written this sort of interplay between life and death.
They still don't have they don't have guns there because they were showing there's barely any gun deaths.
It's a very small. Right. It's a very small island.
They were showing the gangs and they're showing their weapons out their trunks. It's all knives.
Yes,
like a hammer.
It looks like Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, it was like a weird. It was a hammer. It was like an axe.
I just went to Home Depot, man. He's
I'd rather get shot. Like, fuck.
Well, the Japanese have
medieval balls.
Yes, it was like so old school.
They have the most stringent immigration laws. They literally, I think they allowed 6 Syrians in last year.
Oh, come
6.
on. That's it?
Oh, their immigration.
They don't play at the UN table,
You look at their immigration policy. It is, I've been there, and I remember it was the most, and I grew up all over the world. Japan, to this day, is still the most foreign place I'd ever been because it had always been so insular.
It's so Japanese.
It's very Japanese.
There's no English there. You know what I mean? You think, we're English.
Yeah.
It's all Japanese.
very polite,
you love
but
playing there.
I do because people are so nice and kind. Just like you said, there's a respect there.
Protocol.
You just said you're late. I was late today. Last thing I thought about was killing myself.
Where was the
You know what I mean?
rowdiest?
The other fascinating thing about Japan, just to finish this, is that because there's so many people in a very small area, protocol and manners were very important. But here's the fascinating thing: because of typhoons, they couldn't really build their structures back in the day. They couldn't build their structures out of stone and things because what would happen is before they learned architectural techniques that would withstand those typhoons, typhoon would blow and stones would fall on you, you die. So if you ever wonder why Japanese houses, like the insides,
I'm
were
so
made
glad you're addressing this because I was like, God damn it, why?
and that's the first question.
I know Mark. Mark came in, he's like, can you guys make sure you address why the typhoons
talk about this.
are built out of wood?
But did you ever know?
I'm fascinated. I've seen your
Did you ever notice why a lot of the doors are made of paper? So
Of course.
Okay, so a lot of that was a practical reason, so that if your house fell on you, paper would fall on you. Okay, you wouldn't have giant mortar and stuff crushing you to death. Well, here is the problem with that. What's separating you and your neighbor, or you and your sister, or you and your mother, is just a piece of paper. You can hear everything.
I'm gonna go ahead and slide on.
So if you're having sex, and if you're in an argument, what happened was, in the Japanese psyche, the notion of privacy was so pronounced that if you're having a fight or you have a nightmare and you're crying and stuff like that, there was this famous thing in Shogun, the book, where he kept having this samurai badass would have this dream that he was blind and he'd wake up screaming and crying. And so endemic
private.
was that everybody there would pretend you learned to shut your own ears off. And even when you were with your spouse and you heard some shit going on in the next room, you didn't talk about it to each other because you would be violating their privacy.
That's right.
And it was this
I
silent
couldn't be
social
further away
contract.
from that. I'm a gossip.
You're a gossip. You are a gossip queen.
Well, look at the country we live in.
Oh,
look at the
God.
That's what we
society.
do,
I mean,
man.
Dude, in Japan and in Korea, when they decided they had these nude pictures of this famous pop star. I don't know if you saw this on radio.
I remember this. Yeah, this wasn't that long ago.
Dude,
They don't play that game.
Bro, this TMZ kind of news outlet released those pictures. Well, guess what happened? Every fan of that pop star and everybody else essentially stopped buying.
That's right.
That and looking at that website. They were shunned.
America does not.
No,
You're kidding me?
We
encourage
go to
that.
Yeah,
Come
we go-
on.
we like to see people get fucked up.
No strippers, no booze.
So,
Get outta here.
Not so in Japan and Korea. They were like, no,
Especially
you don't
drugs
do that.
too. There was another boy band. One of the guy did heroin or something, and the
Really?
man overdone.
Really?
Wrapped. And guy was like,
Brian, you're in jail for smoking weed in Japan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, weed's completely.
they
don't mess with
any
it.
band going over there. You are given a real once over by like our
No
people,
drugs.
their people. You remember Paul McCartney? Yes, they'll put anybody they're looking for. You know what I mean? They're very respectful. They're going through your shit no matter what. But if you even try to sneak, I'm gonna get it by these Japanese cats.
No.
Was there a place that's just you can't forget it was just so rowdy?
Guam was for me.
Guam?
Guam, and I wasn't even expecting
strippers.
anything because they just don't get a lot of bands there. So a band that goes there, you're going to play in front of 9,000 people in an arena. We were sort of at our peak there. I think we went there in 2001, and there was 8,000 people there both nights. We played 2 nights, multiple nights there in this little arena there, and we landed in Guam, and there was like a police escort. It was like the Beatles, man. It was like the Beatles, like Sugar Ray's on the island, and we had armed escorts everywhere. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever happened. And then the crowd was just screaming the whole time. We couldn't hear ourselves, and it was great.
Crazy number of strip clubs there, I think, or a lot of strippers go there because
that's where the military is.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They get
so
paid.
these girls will take literally this 15-hour flight to
That's
Guam.
right. That's right.
It
might be the ones
Guam, did you fly out of LAX?
Kind of nuts.
Where was that? And what hotel was that in?
Heaven forbid we would go there, right?
I know a lot of people who do stand up out there too.
In Guam?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans
We
that are
need to
out
do a
there.
live fire in the kid in Guam.
You should.
How long of a
out
flight
there.
is that?
Way
though?
too long, Bubba.
How long a flight?
12 hours, I think.
Is it only 12?
I think it's at least 12.
I think it's look that up for a second.
I think it might be 12 from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Guam is you got to take by the time you get
It's
there.
by Australia,
By the time you
kinda,
get there,
yeah.
you're older.
I think it was 12 from Japan. I take that
No,
back.
we'll
I
book
think we're
that
in-
the first of never.
Yeah, that's 21 hours.
yeah.
It's something crazy. I don't know what it is.
We can't do that.
You guys could do an arena show over there, man.
16
You would.
hours.
16 hours.
16 hours, yeah.
It's simply too long, sir. It's simply too long. Pay me $100,000 and I probably will still say no.
Yeah, no, I that's the thing. The money would talk.
Money,
Do you
yeah.
give 100 grand?
Of course I would.
I was going to
What?
say.
Are you
What,
kidding?
how much money are you guys making over here?
We'd be down there for
Yeah,
100 grand.
come on.
Guam?
Listen,
and I'd spend every dime of that in Guam.
Make
I
no
bet.
mistake, I do a lot of what I do for the money.
Of course.
All right? So much
Come
for the
on,
art.
man.
That's
You
what
could-
happens when you're almost 50. You go,
Don't forget
what about the, how much?
That, you don't have to talk about this, but especially in your guys' heyday, did you get an offer where you and your bandmates were like, what the
Yeah, no.
Are they serious?
We got private shows for. I mean, it doesn't sound like much now, but you talk about 99, 2000. It was $500,000 a couple shows. We got $500,000. We never, to me that was a lot. It still was
It's still a lot of money.
For a 45-minute show, $500,000 in 1999.
Yeah.
A private-
We did
it was
of
like a
those.
private show?
Private shows. And there was like 40 people there, and you got those. That's a little bit of work there, But you're laughing. He goes, I'm gonna walk off stage with $100,000 in my pocket.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I knew a famous singer who got
Got to one up my boy Mark?
No, they offered.
No,
to
but
fly
it's
her.
a joke though, Brandon. It's a joke though, because like now what people are getting, Mariah Carey just flew over to Sultan of Brunei and got 10 million. It's like
Taylor Swift, I think I forget what it was for a wedding or they get.
I'm embarrassed to say. 50 Cent goes to Bar Mitzvah and it gets like 6 million. But I'm embarrassed to say my height. But to me, and still today, if I got, I would take 1/10 of. Forget.
Of course.
It. Talking money, dude. I'm honored to get paid.
This girl,
anything.
they said, we want you to fly. We'll fly you privately to our house. We want you to sing 4 songs. And we'll give you $450,000. And she was like, yes, of course. I'll do that in your living room.
Come on.
$450,000 for 4 songs. What the fuck are you talking about? I'll do the songs.
I used to carry drywall, so I know like what real work is. You know what I mean? So I never don't lose that exact, like I can pull that recourse out of my memory and just go, okay, I can get the sweat, I can have everything that I was doing and go, absolutely. And for $6 an hour,
Yeah.
Let's do some current events with Evan the Cub. We got some good
I thought we were
ones
gonna.
today.
I thought we were gonna write a song, man.
Yeah, dude.
I was gonna have Keely set her timer to 3 minutes, and we just.
Do you play an instrument?
I don't, dude, but I
You
would
play a
I
little
would-
bit of drums.
I play. Yeah, I can play like Back in Black. I can play certain
That's all you
songs.
need.
This
Brian,
is
I am
class.
so,
Hold on.
so thrilled to have this
about it.
Hold on, I'm
Brian.
freaking out.
This is your favorite animal ever.
Well, that's
the tarantula
a
hawk.
tarantula hawk.
You're damn right it is. And this
All right.
crazy son of a bitch
This
is going
guy's
to
an
let himself
animal.
get stung by it.
We got to get this guy on the show, by the way. What's his name?
I think he calls himself Coyote.
But this guy does all this stuff, right? I've
Dude,
seen this guy before.
dude.
So let's cue this
Taran-
up.
Can I hear this?
We got a mic check. Look at that thing.
Hold on.
Really good hold. Wow, look at that abdomen going. You got a really good hold on her. It took me a minute to get the right hold, but the right hold is
It's like Ari Shaffir.
Looks like David Tell.
I do have the glass capsule right here, so I'm hoping that I have the wherewithal after the sting to quickly pick up the glass enclosure and put it back
anxiety
over top of
level.
the wasp so it doesn't escape and we can get some more B-roll shots with it. But guys, do be aware.
Stinger's a
that if
1/4
I
inch long, by the way.
Immediately go into a state of paralysis. Just let the wasp fly away. Don't try
Why
to
does he
grab it,
do
don't
this?
anything. It'll be back into the wild and everything will be fine.
That thing looks so
Come on, dude.
dangerous.
This guy's got.
Come on, dude. Stop
Would you do that for 100 grand?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't.
It's the most nervous
You
I've
would-
ever been
No.
to take a sting or bite from anything. My hand is shaking. Are you guys all ready?
Look how nervous he is.
I'm nervous,
real?
dude. I'm nervous. Ah!
Oh, God.
Ah! Oh!
Eddie Peterson, and I'm about to enter the sting zone with the tarantula.
Oh,
look at
Jesus.
that thing.
That's a Pepsi wasp, bro. Ah!
2. Here we go.
Ah!
Oh, whoa! That guy's awesome.
Mark said, guys, I don't know, man.
Oh my gosh!
He's dying.
Is it real? Is he acting?
Yeah, no, dude. No, it's awful.
He does a bunch of different ones.
I've seen him do some.
Dude,
you
it's
know, but
awful. No,
there's a
no.
little bit of showbiz here.
They say
I agree.
this is like getting shot with a 45 for real. They say the only thing you can do is lie down on the ground and scream for real.
like that.
This is real, dude.
That is the most intense pain I've ever felt.
No, dude, it's awful, and it gets worse.
It's swelling, right?
Yeah, this is the worst you can.
I'm gonna
get.
need swelling for proof here.
Oh my God.
And it'll be for 4 minutes. You're doing this. Watch, 4 minutes.
He can't make much money.
Oh, when you put your face on the ground, you're done.
No,
That's
you're
pain.
Can't move my arm.
You can't move your arm.
If he starts crying, this shit's real.
No.
Because he's not good enough
This is what they
actor to
say.
shed
This
tears.
is what they say. The insect experts say, you just fall to the ground, you start screaming for
Look
a long
at him.
time.
Yeah, no shit, B. Look at him.
It's like my arm is in a state of paralysis right now.
Look at the size of that Pepsi
Boy,
was.
man. You're right. It's like a shotgun blast, probably.
Yeah, they say it's like slamming your head. You shoot yourself and slam your arm in a car door.
He said it's the number 2.
No, number 1. The bullet ants
That
like this
zone
too.
right there is a hot radiating pain. And you can see
No,
the
he
stinger
said number 2
with it
before
right
this, B.
there. That red mark. I've read that it's like getting tased with a taser gun. I've never been tased before.
He's shaking.
Look at that arm.
The pain is unbelievable right now.
And it keeps coming back.
Oh.
Wow, I'd actually slightly liken it to the Gila monster at this point. It feels really hot.
He said a Gila monster?
Yeah, he got bit by a Gila monster.
Dude, we got to get this guy on
There's
the show.
something.
guy's a
There's
fucking
something
wildcat.
about. We gotta get him on the show. There's something about.
Why is he
About
doing
an
What's his
insect.
name?
What is his name?
Let's see.
Something Schmidt?
I'll pull up
I don't
his
know.
YouTube channel. He's on the, so from the Brave Wilderness YouTube channel.
How many? What's the name? How many views? You have
Tarantula
21
Hawk.
views.
A tarantula hawk.
Yeah, he just goes by the name Coyote.
Coyote.
CoyotePeterson.com.
He looks so unlike.
Our fans
He
will
looks
find
so
him.
unlike the guy. Like, there's no like Grizzly Adams like
Right.
vibe to him. He looks like just a dude in New York going to the ball.
Can you
Street.
imagine pitching that in a room? Like, all right, listen, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm going to find a tarantula wasp and I'm going to have it
Tarantula hawk,
sting
yeah.
my arm.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to find a Gila monster, have it bite my hand.
And they kill tarantulas and eat them. Apparently, that's why they call it
This
the
is.
tarantula.
I thought this was really interesting when I was reading about this insect. So the stinger actually paralyzes the tarantula, and it's actually a reproductive thing too.
Yeah.
It lays eggs inside the tarantula's body, and they basically the eggs literally eat the organs of the inside of the tarantula, and then it bursts out of its chest, fucking predator style or alien style,
Yeah, insects are
dead.
horrifying.
and dead.
So he died.
And
That's
he-
it.
Well,
taran-
he's gonna be fine. It's not strong
No,
enough.
not the
tarantula.
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 Tarantula dies.
It eats the tarantula's internal organs.
Es muerte,
and then
es
the baby
muerte.
comes out of the
I get into
tarantula's
Spanish
body.
when I do. The tarantula.
What happened? Does by the end of this video, does he get like help or he just rides it out?
I think he just rides it out.
Oh no, you
looks like he just rides
just ride it out.
Did you just get a glass of water and ride it out?
The venom dissipates.
Shook it off. Just God,
Just
damn
cool.
it.
What do you guys
That's
wanna
a wrap.
eat? Yeah, let's go.
Wow, dude. Whoa.
Yeah, what is inside him, man? What kind of serum's going coursing through his
I don't
veins?
know. I could
You have to be
do
a
that. And of course, that is where you would get it.
Second most
Yeah.
painful insect on Earth. Second.
Yeah.
What's number 1 for him?
I think it's the bullet ant. There's only 2 insects
Yeah.
that rate a level 4 on the Schmidt index. I
Yeah,
think
it's
called,
it's
right?
the bullet ant.
Will you look that up
and
for
it's-
sure,
and
Ev?
it's-
So we
no,
stop doing bro science?
It's the bullet ant. It's the Pepsis wasp, which is the
I
tarantula.
call it the Pepsi wasp.
How did that escape Johnny Knoxville and his folks?
By the way,
You know
that
what I'm
thing.
saying?
I know.
Seriously.
God.
Where's Steve-O in
This
this?
guy's taking over their
You know
shine.
what the problem is, Mark? Is
guys.
Steve-O would see that and like, I'm gonna put it to my eye.
No, totally.
All
Put his
God
face.
Damn it.
Put his
Yes.
face.
It's so true. It's so
Steve-O,
true.
like,
Those
I'm gonna
guys.
put it on my tongue. Like it will kill.
Oh my
you.
God, those guys have to up the ante every time. It's like Johnny Knoxville did the craziest thing I've ever seen, where he put a blindfold on, smoking a cigarette, and let bulls out. Now
He broke his back.
Is that what happened?
That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. I saw that recently, and there was no joke there. It was your mouth is agape with horror when you laugh after, but it's all real. Remember his body got twisted the most.
He broke his back.
Right.
Yeah,
he broke his dick.
He's the gnarliest motherfucker on the planet.
His motorcycle, 400 feet up in the air, landed right on his dick.
Jesus Christ.
And he gives himself a catheter twice a day.
I don't have
twice
that
a
in
day.
me. I don't have that
Ripped
in
open
me.
his urethra, like,
No,
and he doesn't even care. He talks about it like it's no big deal, and he just puts a catheter in there. And
He's
takes a piss.
incredible.
See, I don't have that in me. If they're like, hey, Brian and Brendan, you guys want to get to 20 million downloads? Have a Pepsi wasp sting Brian in the face, and then you have it
But
sting
you've already
your dick.
done that, Brandon. You've already done that. You equivalent that as human being style. You've
that's
done
true.
things that this guy
I don't
wouldn't do
know.
what you
I
did.
can
This guy would
control
never
that
do
though.
what you did.
I can control that though. I can't control a bull piercing my dick while I'm blindfolded.
That's
you know?
true.
That's kind of just up in the air.
All right, that's true.
When he tied himself to that rocket and tried to shoot himself off,
so
and I said to Steve, I go, Steve, what was he thinking? He goes, well, he just watched a cartoon and he was like, we should try that. Well,
His cartoon is Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner.
I mean,
how crazy is that?
You're gonna shoot yourself off into a lake. You can 100% die.
This is number one, Ev?
Yeah, bullet ant is number one, and it is described. It's described as like fire walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch rusty nail in your heel.
Yeah,
Oh.
it sucks. It sucks.
Sounds like a good time.
Would you let
It's
it
a
bite you,
motherfucker.
B, for YouTube?
No, of course.
No, we're launching our YouTube channel.
Of course, and 100% no. I mean, for what? For fame? If I become that guy just to get more downloads, then I'm lost. I'm lost.
No, you know what? We don't have a show if we're doing that.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
Now here's Brendan walking across a lake filled with alligators. Make sure you subscribe to thefindkid.com.
I'll tell you what I will do.
I'll drink. People be stoked at that.
I'll drink really good coffee and break down the tasting notes.
Yeah. We'll drink really good coffee and watch this guy get stung by bullet ants.
Yeah.
How about that?
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
What else you got, Ev? That was a great video.
Oh my God.
We got to get that guy in the show.
Gotta get him on
over
the show.
here.
Me too, dude. I'm the same way.
panicking,
We were all
sweating.
like this. I had my hands, I think, clasped around my chest.
If you've watched him before, though, he's never been that nervous or his hands shaking. He was like, God, my heart's going a million
Well,
miles
it's
an
so
hour.
horrifying. Wasps will clear a fucking room.
I know.
They'll clear a campfire.
What you didn't see is he goes, here it is, and it shows it in a container. And it's like, it's tough to keep it in the glass container.
yeah.
It's like, doom, 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 doom,
Yeah,
doom.
it's about a foot long, too, by the way. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not to exaggerate, but holy shit.
Oh, that
man.
thing's an action figure with
Jesus.
wings.
Was there a delay for the pain?
Yeah, there was.
Because he was kind of like, put the thing back on. Like, he couldn't have done that. The pain was at full force.
Yeah.
Like, he was sand on face. You know when you're sand on face?
That's when you're-
That's where you don't care about anything
You're
in life.
You're blacked out drunk when you were to get stung by tarantula thing.
One time, the only time I tried to kick, I was on this floor and I kicked. And as I kicked in the air, I fell, I slipped, and I landed and I hit the inside of my knee. You know that inside of bone?
Yes.
And I was
Tender.
going, and I was rolling around the ground and I couldn't see. And I was like, talk about feeling vulnerable. But it's embarrassing when you're making this noise. I was literally going,
There's nothing else you can do.
like that's ridiculous.
What's like when you get the wind knocked out of you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You can't do anything. There's really nothing you can do. Have you
ever been hit in
have
the
you been
liver?
attacked by anything? Any animals?
Some people, but not some dogs attacked me. No, nothing gnarly.
Yeah, me
Have
neither.
you?
No,
I mean, who's
nothing
getting attacked in Newport Beach,
Wasp,
California?
just wasp.
Yeah, wasp.
Wasp.
Yeah. Oh, I got attacked by a bird. That was gnarly. Like a crow just was there.
Jesus.
Just dive bombing me. And like, I guess I was by his nest or something. And they're relentless. You're like, oh, okay, that won't happen again.
They're
and then
scary as shit.
and I was like, I had nowhere to go. And I was in like an open surface. And it just followed me for like half a mile.
Go ahead and slap that
Bring
bird.
up a gibbon. I want to tell a story. Bring up a gibbon. I'm in.
How do you spell
You
it?
talking about that big one with the evil eyes? Looks like
yeah,
a dinosaur?
Bring up the gibbon. It's a monkey. It's an ape. It's the smallest member of the ape
I'm
family.
talking about the bird. Remember I told Rogan I'd beat the shit out of it? Rogan was like, you'll be scared of this. I was like, I'd beat the
Oh
shit.
no, the cassowary.
Yeah. Have you
Cassowary.
seen that? thing?
No.
Cassowary kill you.
But hey, you got to bring that up.
Oh,
then.
that thing?
This cute little fucking.
So now,
Come on. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
That's adorable.
if I may,
Was that the cutest monkey in the world?
If I may, well, take a look at it. I'm in Indonesia and I'm studying orangutans.
Hey,
And I'm
studying?
Why were you
I was
studying
part of an
orangutans?
Earthwatch exhibition, so I wanted to be a naturalist. So you go, you take 6 hours upriver, you go to a place. Biruti Galdikas was the woman of the orangutan, and it's a place called, I can't remember, it doesn't matter. It's a sanctuary. So you go as an American or whoever you are, and you work with naturalists, environmentalists to study, in this case, orangutans. Well, they were also rehabilitating certain gibbons, which is this. Now, that thing's got teeth. You see those
Whoa.
teeth? Yeah. Now, I don't know this. I do know that I was playing with this snake, this snake with a stick, and the woman came up and said, "Young man, if that snake bites you, you'll be dead within the hour, and we are 6 hours from a hospital because we have to get there by boat. Stop doing that and drop the stick." I was like, "Ooh, sorry." It was that. My sister, the first day, goes, "My foot is on fire. My foot is on fire." I go, "What? What's going on?" "My foot's on fire." She's screaming. It was just one little ant. It was also a place where soldier ants, what you slept, where you had to put turpentine on the posts.
My God.
Because soldier ants, when they're foraging, they'll come over you. When they're hunting, they'll kill everything in sight.
I love a nice soldier ant.
And then what they'll do is they'll cover you in, apparently, from what I was told, sting you in unison. They have a signal,
You're
and then you go into
kidding
shock,
me.
and then you get
You're
eaten.
kidding
by
me.
the soldier ants.
1, 2, 3, fellas, and bite. That's how they do it.
So now I'm walking. It's early in the morning, and what
is
we
so
would do
gnarly.
is we would go and you would volunteer to cut pineapple and feed the orphan orangutans.
Okay.
And they would all come together and eat. It was beautiful. It was on
awesome. Yeah.
on this wonderful deck pier where there was a river and everything
It's
else.
beautiful, yes.
Beautiful, right? I'm walking back, and trees, canopy, and an animal jumps upon my head.
Oh, no.
And grabs my shoulders, and I go,
Oh, my God.
And it's a gibbon that has decided to jump on me and not bite me, but grab me. It grabbed my ear and yanked my ear. I went, "Ah!" And then it jumped off, and I went, what? Like that, what? And I'm looking around for it, and I'm like, and then, of course, then you're like this, and you're like, seriously? I was 21, and I'm like, what? So I go, this is fucking crazy shit, man, fucking bullshit. And then I'm walking, and all of a sudden, again!
It came back?
And yes, and it's pulling my ear. Okay. And
Was it trying to
scratched my-
scalp you?
Well, what it was, I thought I was being attacked by a gibbon, and now I run. I'm so terrified.
Crying.
I come back, I got attacked by a monkey. I got attacked by a gibbon. And I'm screaming.
Ears all jacked
And
up.
the guy who was like the regular there, he goes, "Oh no, that's just a gibbon. He jumps on people all the time." Hey man, fucking tell me. Give me the info. Tell me. I was so terrified.
Hey, what if you were there to help the monkey that thing jumps? You go,
Oh my god. Well, yeah, I killed it. I killed it.
you got him by his two stupid little arms.
Dude, I couldn't even do that. I was just like, it yanked on my ear. It scratched my forehead. It wasn't being nice.
That's so terrible.
Dude, it's so funny. Hey, I bet you were trying to
Horrifying.
impress some girl there because I know Brian. You
know I was,
And
brother.
you were like, what's
You
up,
know
girl?
I was. Dude, I did a wheel kick for her. She was
Before that.
Fuck yes.
But of course you did.
Of course I did that.
Then this little innocent monkey.
Told her I was a black belt. Oh yeah. Oh, I was telling her. She was older, and I was like, "Well, I live in D.C. right now." My sister, the ultimate cockblock. I'm trying to pick this woman up. She's older, a scientist, couldn't give two shits about me. First, I have to volunteer that I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. No, she didn't know. I'm like, I'm a black belt, and then I go, "Yeah, I live in D.C. You know," and my sister goes, he goes to college there, and my dad pays all his bills. I mean, hater. Dude, hater. Kills me. Kills me.
sister shit.
He doesn't even have a job. When he wants money, he calls my dad's secretary.
Oh,
and
my
by the way,
God.
he's also paying for this trip. I mean,
worst.
took my wheels off.
And then that monkey went, I trying to seal the deal. Attack!
Oh, dude. I was like, ah!
Oh my God.
By the way, that trip, dude, where we had, you'd have these leeches. They were ground leeches, and you'd look at your socks, and you'd look at the back of your neck, and you had leeches, huge black worms attached to your neck and your feet.
God.
And so what you do is, my sister was so freaked out by this, but I found out that they actually don't cause any disease. So I was like, fuck it. So that night, my sister would flip out because I'd take a nap. You'd lie down. If you lie down on that floor, I'm telling you, you will have, and you don't feel them. Look at your neck, and you're just covered in these long black.
Now, did you
leeches.
guys have absolutely nothing anything else to do, or
You know what it taught me? After maybe, I don't know, it was there 11 days, I don't know how long. It taught me that I don't give two
not for
fucks
you.
about being a naturalist. Because you know what the truth is?
You like money?
You wake up at 4 a.m, you traipse through the jungle, your feet are wet all the time.
Oh man.
And please understand you're going to have leeches everywhere. And please.
well, understand
please,
the orangutans hate you.
Oh,
They hate you.
everything hates you, and the
griffins.
forest, the Indonesian rainforest. Please, if you think off is going to keep bugs off you, you can use that. You can use that fucking shit you use in the forest.
That's
of
some white
America.
people shit. That's some white people shit.
Mosquitoes drink that shit up.
Yeah.
They're like, get the fuck out of here with your. You can spray it in their face, and they go. They suck it up. You got to carry a sulfur coil. You got to burn a sulfur coil, and you set a hammock up. Don't sleep on the ground floor. Please don't. Set a hammock up, go back to sleep, and wait for the orangutan to wake up 100 feet up. You don't see it, but you got to know where the nest is. And then they take shits, and you collect the shit all day. You
What?
don't see it. You collect the shit. Oh, no, I'm not done.
Hey, you
Collect
don't
the
even
shit.
see the orangutan?
Oh,
Hey, you stupid ass humans, coming in hot.
oh, and they, yeah. And they're
Hey,
shit.
good morning, you silly fucks.
They wake up after a good 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep, and they shit. You collect the shit, you strain it to see the difference in seeds,
Oh
so
my
you can track
God.
their eating habits. I would talk about a collective yawn.
Oh my
I couldn't wait to
God.
fucking get out of there. And guess what you eat all day? Rice and nothing else, because that's all they get in there.
Oh man.
I would eat the shit out of that little gibbon. what else you got?
that is
Al? That was a classic story. I would say.
Since we're on this big nature kick,
Crying.
this year marked the 10-year anniversary of the dopest documentary series ever, Planet Earth. B, you remember that?
You bet your sweet ass.
Bet your sweet ass I do. Bro, Planet Earth 2 coming in hot.
What? When's this drop?
Just watch this fucking epic video.
We got ourselves a
Years
nice
on, we'll be
nature
showing you
trailer
life
here.
in all its
Little
wonder,
sizzle
closer than
reel.
ever. Mark, read the
I will narrate for you.
narrate for us.
I'll narrate for you.
Mark McGrath narrating
That's the narration.
Planet Earth 2,
It said 10 years later we'll show you.
starring Mark McGrath. Dude, look at this.
And Billy Gibbons.
That's a
as the
gibbon. That's a fucking gibbon.
No, it's not.
No, that's a
not
lemur.
gibbon.
That's a lemur. That's a lemur. From
Think how creative they have to get.
that
That's
animal.
a serval. That's a serval.
Well, think about how creative this fucking planet Earth has to get.
Oh my
The animals
Wow.
the
Motor
animals
dragon.
haven't changed
Nope.
this summer.
Penguin.
It takes a decade to film this.
Dude,
stuff.
I'm loving
One
this already.
penguin. Look how amazing that is.
Elephants like
India.
you've never seen.
Parkour.
OG parkour.
Dude, those are macaw. Oh, no. I don't.
Those 11 days trained you well, though, Brian. You
Yeah,
know
they really
every
did.
animal.
Look
I
at
know
him.
my
He's an
animals,
expert.
Bubba. I know my animals.
Look at that thing.
It's a
Damn.
peregrine. That's a peregrine falcon.
Oh, look at that iguana doing work.
That's a sea turtle, Bubba.
No, that's an iguana.
Mushrooms?
You said it took him 10 years to
Hummingbird.
film this?
Oh, that's
It took
amazing.
them like 10 years to shoot to do the last Planet Earth series too.
Damn. Snow fox coming in hot. Oh, I'm in. Yeah. A sloth?
Sloth.
I'm so sold.
Oh, snow leopard.
Dude, flying.
Oh, look at that.
Damn, you guys got so crunk for that leopard?
Bro.
Oh,
shit.
that's gnarly.
Couple leopards fighting.
Don't fuck around with snow
Look at
leopards.
that thing.
Oh.
Golden eagles right there.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
in Patagonia.
Talons.
Dope.
Oh,
Truck
what?
him.
Gnarly.
Bro, don't fuck with
Couple
lions.
horse fights.
Look at it. Amazing. This footage is unreal.
Yeah, it's on. Well,
Bro,
are
are
all
you
those
joking with
penguins
me?
Fucking
dead?
tube. Laird Hamilton.
Oh.
Penguin's dead?
Leonard Hamilton comes out of nowhere.
Dude, that's a bear.
Oh, yeah, get that itch.
What's up? Yeah,
Look at a
hell
piece of that
yeah.
bear.
Oh, look at that.
Dragon's fighting.
Oh, look
Man,
at that little
the
mouse.
wasp.
For sure, let's see him die.
Hey, what?
That's phenomenal.
God. Was the
Dude,
greatest
this makes me
documentary
believe
ever
in
made.
God. I'm serious.
Yeah, you're right.
How are you an atheist
You
when
know,
you see this
well
shit?
said.
This
I don't know
makes
what
me
kind of
want
God
to
you
hunt
believe in.
shit.
Hey, man.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, guys, I'm hungry.
This makes me want to get a gun and start shooting
That's
shit.
Joe Rogan. That's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's Rogan.
I like killing things. Locusts, sinners.
Oh,
Oh,
look
That's a
at that.
jaguar.
Whoa.
A jaguar catching a caiman. Watch this.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, that looks so good.
Dude.
BBC.
shit.
Look at
That gave me chills.
Yeah, man.
That's
Favorite part with that
amazing.
sloth just doing the damn thing in the water. That sold me. All the other stuff.
Mark,
I've
if
seen.
you could be an animal in your next life, what would it be?
I like the wolf mentality, man. I heard Joe Rogan talk about that a lot. They're just badass. Yeah. They do the whole thing. You see that thing where they released the wolves, 10 wolves, 12 wolves 20 years ago, 95, and they changed the actual habitat of Yellowstone.
They're so badass.
Changed the way rivers flow because beavers. It was just, that got me into some of this. And I saw that like 2 days ago.
I was talking to Rogan. He goes, "Yeah, I read this interesting book on the habitats of wolves." I went, "You read an entire book on just wolves?" He goes, "Yeah, I did."
Oh, he's very fervent about that. What kind of animal would you be?
I've read a couple books on wolves, believe it or not.
No, he
I
was
just
saying-
talking about it on his podcast, and I would probably. I think a wolf is really cool.
Wolf's killer.
I think
Be a
aesthetically,
goddamn eagle.
an eagle's a very
I'd
good
fly
idea.
around. You
Eagles
know?
are rad. Fly
You
is
know what?
rad.
You're right.
Flight is cool.
You got it, and you can see a long way, and you can go.
And also, humans can't shoot you down.
You're really cool looking too.
You're
The
fucking
eagle's just
cool.
dope looking.
I was gonna say panther.
They're only
but
cool from the side. You ever seen them head on?
No.
Show an eagle head on.
Why?
It does not yell America.
Really? That doesn't read the same? I don't know.
What kind of eagle am I showing you?
Golden eagle.
Bald eagle.
No, just type in bald eagle. If straight on, they don't look like how you think. They look like someone gave them like a freaking swirly or something. They don't look like we always see them from the side. Like
Right. They got
all
statuesque.
Model-esque, yes. Head on. There's certain
see.
ones they don't look.
Well, there it looks a little bit like it looks very birdy.
It does look. Yeah, it takes the stature, the gravitas away
Maybe
from
some of the.
eagle.
Oh well.
That's the bald one.
That's just
Yeah, they look kind of like.
They don't look as badass. straight
no,
on.
they don't. They don't. Look
From the
at
side,
that. Look like a chicken right there, man.
like no one's getting that tattoo.
No.
Yeah, got a trail edge for a beak.
You know what? I don't want to
You
be
just
that
bum me
anymore.
out on the bald eagle.
You know what?
Dude. Not
That
proud of a
bums me
bird
out.
anymore.
You know
Not
what?
proud.
I changed. I don't want to be a bald eagle. I think it looks stupid now. It looks like a chicken on steroids.
That looks pretty cool. It looks like a chicken.
Yeah, it looks like steroid. Like they don't look that much different. Now that I mention it.
Yeah.
Well, forget that thing. What else you got? Ev?
Anyways, Planet Earth 2, no release date set yet, but fuck.
For sure, let's put that thing out. It's been 10 years in the making.
Hard not to get pumped up about that.
No, that looks amazing.
All right. Next current event. This is an interest. This is fucking hilarious. So Chad Kelly, who is the quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles, I believe.
No,
No, Ole Miss.
Is he-
Ole Miss.
is he Ole
Ole Miss,
Miss?
yeah.
Okay.
Jim Kelly's
nephew. Yeah.
Ooh, you
Yeah.
football guy too, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Schaub.
he slid into porn star Mia Khalifa's DMs twice. She put him on blast on Twitter, screenshotted him, making fun of how shitty his game was, all that kind of deal. Put him on blast on Twitter twice.
an
He didn't learn his
Yikes.
lesson the first time, went back for seconds, got burned again.
So what did he?
So-
let's see his game.
Pornhub sent Chad Kelly this letter, which I will read for you guys. Dear Mr. Chad Kelly, I hope this letter finds you well. I wanted to reach out following the news that you have once again slid into Mia Khalifa's DMs on Twitter. I'm not sure if there's a correlation between your attempts at wooing Miss Khalifa and your play on the field. Rough loss last week at Arkansas.
Yikes.
But we wanted to intervene and offer our assistance before you strike out for a third consecutive time. I'd like to officially offer you an opportunity to go on a date with a porn star and learn how to best pick up women. Think of Pornhub as your dating coach. We can arrange a lovely dinner with one of our beautiful porn stars, and she can show you the ropes. You can try various pickup lines on her, see which ones work best,
Yikes.
which ones fall flat. She can offer guidance and break down the X's and O's of dating so you're best equipped for future situations.
It's fantastic.
I wonder what he
They're all
did.
Miss
I wonder
fan.
what he said to that girl. So
Yeah.
that girl, but
It was very innocuous.
No, well,
It was like, hey, I can get you tickets to the game. It was
Really?
and she's an Alabama
Here
fan.
they are.
She Florida
They're all right
State.
Florida State. That's right.
She's a Florida State girl, and she even said to the number one recruit, like, if you come here, I'll sleep.
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, right. And he's there.
Yeah.
It's true.
Not dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty. Look, see the game.
What did he say?
It wasn't like, hey, I want to bet. It wasn't
Add
anything.
me on Snap. Better see you at the game on the 5th. And then she goes, I'm only following you for Seminole Recon to find your weaknesses before the game, also before the last chance you. Oh, yeah, haha, you're funny. What did you think of the show?
So he's
Oh, that's
cool.
not-
He's just cool.
Can't
Chad
resist
Kelly's
urges
cool.
to slide into DMs of girls out of his league.
Oh, what? Fuck you.
Also, because the
You're
last
out of
chance
your
Seems
league.
mean.
Last Chance U's a documentary on Netflix about this community college where all these guys go, these broken players that somehow messed up, their careers. Chad Kelly went to Florida State or something originally.
Yeah.
And he either messed up or violated something. And they go to this school in the middle of like Mississippi or something.
Yeah,
and,
JUCOs are all
He had a
over,
great year, and then Ole Miss picked him up again.
She's an
And,
asshole.
and
that
now
woman.
he's the
That
best
woman's
player in
a
the SEC
shithead.
as far as quarterbacks go.
Yeah,
Chad
no,
Kelly.
he'll play
quarterback.
NFL.
Chad Kelly.
Great player.
Yeah.
He's having a rough,
He seems pretty cool, and she's an a-hole.
I mean, that seemed pretty like a guy say, hey, just innocent flirting.
Oh, I know.
At worst.
All the time though. Like she's known for putting people on.
Ugh,
Yeah,
she's
don't,
awful.
you know.
What an awful human.
You don't
being.
have
He
superpower.
did-
Yeah, right?
He did DM her, what is your profession? You mind sending me your resume?
What's that?
That's a weird DM.
Well, look
to
at
send
the
to a
look at the
porn star.
time too at that one.
That's
12:30 in the morning.
He's probably
12:25 in the
drunk,
morning, yeah.
but he's probably drunk, but also it's kind of funny.
Oh, let's FaceTime. All right. That's
She's an
coming in
asshole.
hot and drunk.
She's an asshole, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't blame the guy for finding her attractive.
Plus, he's in
course.
college, man. Good
Yeah,
lord.
he's a young dude, and she's a.
and he's a fan of your work and your videos.
Yeah, what a shitty.
But she's a, like you said,
She wants fame.
Florida
obviously.
State. No, but
Yes.
she's a real huge Florida State. She knows a lot about Florida State football.
yeah, but to
It's
put
weird.
somebody like this whole putting on blast is just awful.
It has
really
to
a
be super
weird,
embarrassing
strange
for him.
God, I mean,
What else you got, Ev?
classless. Anyway, she's
Poor guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Last one. So since we talked about the GSP contract free agency situation on Monday, the UFC issued a statement saying that, nah, he still is under contract.
Of course.
And GSP's attorney has rebutted again and saying, oh yeah, he is. He's out that shit.
And, do your research on GSP's attorney. He's the freaking
Jim Quinn of
he's a monster.
the Michael Jordan of
Yeah, he's a monster. So, and GSP's way too smart. He's not like these guys, who I'm out of my contract, I'm retiring, I'm doing this. He's a very calculated, smart guy. So if he says he's out, I'm willing to bet he's out. And that attorney wouldn't give him the approval to go on shows and publicly announce that either.
Wow.
It's good for the sport, man. I think it's really good for the sport. The UFC, the UFC is in a transitional period. I love the UFC, but with WME buying them, and you're seeing all these layoffs now at the UFC headquarters in Las Vegas, and I think in Canada they just laid off 90% of the staff there, something like that. People are getting,
yeah.
I mean, they're
Then how does McGregor Diaz 3 not happen? Because the money, but the money involved now. I mean, Dana on his hands and knees going, we gotta make this fight happen.
Yeah.
Dana doesn't want to make the fight happen.
Yeah, he
that's
doesn't.
that's the issue. It would have happened. This is in the grand scheme of things. If I was Scrooge McDuck and I ran the UFC, I would have Conor, which they're doing, fight Eddie Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
God willing, Conor wins that fight. Then you have him fight Nate for the biggest trilogy ever.
Yeah.
For the belt. And at 55, Nate wants to fight at 55. Conor wants to fight at 55. But now you're just not fighting at a weird catch weight. You're fighting for the world championship, lightweight world
That's
championship.
awesome.
That's what I would do.
That's a
Yeah.
really good idea.
What does Nate walk around at?
190?
Yeah, 90, 80. When he's in shape, he's around mid 70s. Yeah,
I was surprised he was
Tall.
so heavy, but he's tall. Real
Yeah, he's
tall.
tall.
He's 6'1", isn't he? I mean,
he's a tall dude.
Legit, yeah.
Is that it, Ev?
the heavyweight division just never. It's right. It's just.
Yeah, big boys, man. Big boys.
But is it? I mean, I guess it's. I mean, to me, there's just not the.
There's no depth there.
personality. I guess.
In heavyweights, typically not. Yeah,
When
not with a lot
you
of-
go through the first 1 to 2, get down in the top 10. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, I mean, that's fighting in general. There's not a ton of person.
No, you're right. I mean, look, in boxing, I mean, there's.
Oh, yeah, they got their own problems.
If Conor and Mayweather fight, I'm sure you've discussed this a million times, and forgive me if.
I haven't bring him in.
What do you think McGregor and Mayweather fought?
Again, if I'm Connor's management, this is what we do. We do you fight Eddie Alvarez at 155. You get that belt. You fight your trilogy fight with Nate. It's the biggest pay per view of all time. He makes his money. Then after that, you leave the UFC and you fight Floyd Mayweather for 60, 70 million.
God, I love
and
that.
ride off into the sunset with no head trauma.
Resuscitate two sports at once.
Think about that. You're getting the UFC fan base. You're getting all the boxing fan base, and you're colliding these worlds.
My question is, who wins that fight?
Mayweather wins
Easily,
that fight.
right?
Yeah.
Because you can't catch him.
No, but again, and I don't think Mayweather would win the fight and really wouldn't have a chance. But just the magnitude and the pay per views.
And don't you think
and the kind of it's a circus act?
Yeah, and they would kind of, I'm sure that they would oblige. It's like, do you think that there'd be some kind of an agreement or conversation
no,
to just
absolutely
move around?
not. You're talking
No?
about two of the best in the world. No one's gonna go, hey man, let me just try. What?
Yeah,
Hold
you're
on,
right.
hold on. You're telling me that Conor McGregor there wouldn't be a sort of an idea that, hey, Floyd, we're going to box, a pure
Absolutely
boxing
not.
match, but then
Absolutely not.
But then it would be over very quickly.
No, because if you look at the style, so Floyd Mayweather's a counter puncher, so he'd have to apply pressure Because you know what I'm saying,
Right,
Because
of
Conor,
course.
they're going to go.
Connor's gonna go
They're going to go
forward.
rounds,
Actually-
and also Floyd's a lot smaller. So if Floyd catches him flush early on, he's not going to knock him out.
It's actually more of an
It's gonna
interesting
take a
fight
lot
than you
of
think
work.
it is when,
Yeah.
when you think about
It
the
really
styles
is.
of fights.
It really
you know?
is. Now-
it will not be ending quickly, I don't think.
No, it won't end quickly, but Conor would get outclassed in boxing for sure.
Right.
But it's not now. If he was fighting a Mike Tyson, well, yeah, he's gonna get eaten alive
Right.
in 30
That's
seconds.
just brute
but stylistically, and Floyd's way smaller than him.
Yeah.
Light year smaller. Than him.
Yeah.
Small guy, man. Really, really small
So he
guy.
couldn't knock him out right away.
It'd be very tough for him to knock him out
Really?
right away. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I do, but what do I know?
You know a lot.
Yep. Anything
smart
else,
man.
Ev?
No, we're good on current events, my man.
Boom. You drop knowledge. You want to straight to fanny questions.
I have it dropping knowledge. I don't know why I wanted to bring this up, but yesterday I noticed, or it was 2 days ago, I think it was. Let me just bring this up for a second.
While you're doing that, you find that, and let me talk to Mark real quick. Dude, you find that, B.
Okay.
Question for you, again, talk about it or not. You were on The Apprentice, correct?
Yes, I was.
So you dealt with Trump?
I dealt with Donald Trump a whole bunch.
Thoughts?
He total gentleman to me. Never saw him act untoward to anybody. He loves himself. There's no doubt about that. He's the Trump you see on TV. But I didn't. To me, he was a gentleman. And when I got fired in a battle of the wits against Gary Busey in the boardroom,
God.
it was a TV show, less
Yeah.
a competition.
Yes.
He brought me to his office the next day, didn't have to, took a half hour to talk to me and said, hey, I appreciate everything you did. You ever need a recommendation, I'm here for you. My hotels are you're welcome to stay. I know you travel a lot. So I don't have a bad word to say about him.
So he's to
do I think he's qualified to be president? I mean, that's a whole
That's a
different
story, yeah.
And do I think Hillary is? That's a whole
Yeah,
different story.
but behind the scenes, and you've obviously had a discussion. You know him way better than both of us, or anyone in here for that matter. He's like a guy's guy.
He's a guy's guy. One thing he did say, Lisa Rinna was sitting there and, she just had her lips deflated, and he goes, Lisa, I'm glad you took the lip stuff out of your lips. You look much more beautiful. You're very beautiful. Very beautiful. I'm sure Harry's happier now too. Huh? That was the only thing. And I was like,
He's an old school guy.
He's an old school. And look, he's just, everything's been handed to him. He's entitled man. He's billions of bucks. And, a guy like that can get away with a lot more. I'm sorry, it's just the way society is, and he's dealt like that. He's a little bit, got one foot in that old school madman sort of executive style,
Yeah.
That was the only thing I saw. I was a little like, oh, Jesus.
Your contact with him is fairly limited, or is it pretty?
Yeah, it's very limited. I mean, you see him you see Don Jr. a lot and Ivanka a lot. Ivanka is one of the most lovely, graceful human beings you will ever meet in your life. Mm-hmm. She lights up her room. She's easy. She's effervescent. She's articulate. She's graceful. I mean, these kids were raised right. I'll give them that.
They were.
I mean, and I think that's the biggest compliment you could give somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
I was flying back from Orlando. We did a gig down there. I have 6-year-old twins, right? And this lady came up to me and said, your kids are so well behaved. It was an honor having me on this flight, and I mean, to me, that was the biggest compliment I've ever received in my life.
Huge.
And to my wife too, as well,
That's amazing.
So I think there's a real sort of correlation between the parent and the kids in that.
Yeah.
That becomes a huge part of your life.
I think so, yeah.
What do you think with the whole Trump and the Billy Bush stuff?
Again, as a guy who was working extra at that time when he was at Access Hollywood, that's how you kind of set up interviews, And
You saying he's trying to relate to Trump?
Yeah, you would just be like, I've done stuff like with Rob Lowe, you're getting ready thing, and like when we walk out of the bus, the camera will be on, but dude, so like, you start.
What did they want Billy Bush to say? Did they want Billy Bush to go, excuse me, Donald, that kind of language is inappropriate. I can't do this interview anymore. I have to listen to it again, but...
Here's where he lost.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's very, very simple. It wouldn't be a problem if he didn't say immediately after he got out of the bus, hey, why don't you give the Donster a hug?
That's where I went, you're a tool. That's
where it went gross. That's
I
where it went
agree.
sideways. It wasn't even like, look at that. Look at that. It was all guy talk. It was like, hey, now Billy's trying to get on Donald's side. Donald's side.
That's what I mean.
Why don't you give Donald a hug there? Just after coming off that gross talk.
I'm
I'm
sure
sure
he's a
you've worked
tool.
with Billy Bush.
I haven't worked with Billy Bush.
Not at Extra?
I don't know him very well.
But I just don't think he deserves to lose his fucking job.
I agree
like
with you
censor
there.
him, suspend him. But and that was when I went. The guy's a tool. Hey, how about give a hug for the Donald? I was like, ugh, God,
Yeah, it's so yucky.
But
rough.
to fire him. To fire him for being part of this conversation with this dude
Here's the
who's
argument to that, though, B, because he's on, what was it, Good Morning America?
Access Hollywood. Or now he's on Today's Show. He was on Today's Show.
So remember, Today's Show,
all
that's a
women.
morning show.
It's all women.
It's women, but it's also personalities. People want to,
I
they
got
have
you.
to like you.
Gotcha.
Without a
After
doubt.
that, literally,
You're right.
sense.
he should have got fired from that because
Look what we're doing.
No one likes
Look what
him
we're
anymore.
doing, Brian, right now. Like, imagine what the women are doing.
No,
imagine women
you know,
waking up
right.
in the morning, turn on like, God, there's
you're
the
like, there's
fucking
my-
Donald
that
Trump.
guy.
Let's go straight to Good Morning America.
There's the creep.
Let's go
was
straight to Good Morning America.
So just as from a
Was it
business
because he
aspect,
laughed
you
along?
can't have that.
Because he laughed along with it, though. I mean, what do you think it was?
Come on, give Donald a hug.
Because he said,
like,
no,
it's just
look,
creepy. Like
they just came
we're
up with this
talking
creepy
about.
talk. That like creepy talk is cool. It's creepy talk, but when you bring creepy talk into an unsuspecting partner, which this third party was, we're gonna bring our creep talk and it's our little secret. But I'm gonna give the Donald, I'm gonna give him a really pervy hug.
Well,
right
he
now.
and I were talking about that. Where Donald, of course, like you're talking about locker room talk. But excuse me, sir. Excuse me. You grab their pussies and they
No, that
let
was
you,
ridiculous.
and they let you, and I kiss. I just start
real.
kissing them. Yes, sir, sir. Every woman has an experience like that
Please
with
don't
men.
do that.
Every woman has an experience like that with men. And what women do is they don't let you. What they do is they go, "Holy fucking shit, what's going on here?" If a giant dude
Powerful
did
Donald
that to
Trump,
me,
though.
if a giant guy, like say Andrei Orlovsky, who can kill me, literally grabbed my cock and started making out with me, you know what I would do? And I'm not kidding.
Nothing.
I wouldn't do anything.
Nothing.
It's like Shane Carwin. I said to Shane Carwin, I go, dude, if you were my fucking prison mate, I don't know what I'd do. And Shane goes, you'd suck my cock. And he's right. And women deal with that reality on a fucking daily
true,
basis.
man.
So that's where I went. That's true. That's what he said. And I was
But-
you know what? I hate to admit it, but you're goddamn right I would.
But in NBC's defense, look at Mark. But
it's so fucked up, but it's true.
In NBC's defense, you just can't have that. You know what I'm saying? You
so
just
you're saying Billy
can't-
Bush is bad for ratings now.
Well, he doesn't fit on that network. Like he can go work somewhere else, but he can't be the face of the morning show.
Yeah.
If he was on
We're
like
talking
a
about-
Monday Night Football or something, flying over his different. Well, you got your wife's waking up making a coffee, and there's the guy. You can't
creep.
And I feel really bad for him. We got $9 million to go away.
Really? Listen, that's not bad. I'm
crying
hey,
here.
fuck you.
Yeah.
You got $9 million to go away. You don't have to work.
Who's
That's
going to
pretty
hire
good.
him now?
Everybody. This thing, we live in a world where
fame's been so high now.
Scandal goes away in 5 seconds.
It might help him.
The most popular cultural icon right now is popular not because of any sort of talent that the family has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's gone.
Yeah.
The gone are the days of scandal ruin your career. Those are gone. He'll sit on it for 6 months. We'll forget about it. We'll be on to something else.
He's mainstream now.
And
He's
we forgive him, sort of. I mean, we're like,
And everybody
ah.
knows he's a scapegoat too.
You
we also know
he's a
he's
scapegoat.
But
sacrificial.
also
lamb,
never
you know?
forget, you can't pay for this publicity. He is linked with Trump.
With no doubt about
most
it.
famous man in the world, probably. Trump right now. Billy Bush associated with
Maybe
that.
the most famous man in the world, right?
Yeah, right now.
Legitimately?
But now Billy Bush is associated with that.
It's right
His
there.
name's never been higher.
And
you can't pay for that publicity.
And he's got a syndicated radio show. He does a lot of other things. And like Billy Bush is fine.
He's
believe
fine.
me. He's pissed off because he's got an ego, like we all do. And he just moved to New York. I got a good friend that knows him pretty well. And he just settled in there. You know what I mean? And then 2 weeks later, extra plan. And we've had this for 6 months, by the way. And you could have had me not move my kids.
And
to
forgive me, but I'm sure he's not a bad guy. I'm sure he's.
talked
I
to
mean, I wouldn't want my girlfriend around, but yeah.
No, I'm sure he's
Look,
fine.
I would love to say he's like
fine.
this, that,
We've
the
all
other.
laughed inappropriately when it's a situation.
I've never been that creepy guy. I've never been that creepy. I wouldn't. After seeing that, I wouldn't want anyone I know.
Let me give you an
around him.
example, though. I've been in situations, I don't know, people I don't know that well, kind of dudes, men, and somebody will say something just
'Cause they're nervous?
racist as fuck. And I'll go, I'll be like, I remember there was this cop, an old cop, and he was kind of a hero on the force. I was on a cruise with this guy, and his whole family talked about him like he was, don't ask. Don't ask. And I'm on this
Please
cruise,
don't jump in a long
and all
story.
these other cops were there, and I was doing Mad TV, so they really liked me. They kind of were like, "This is this guy from
Yeah.
Mad TV," and I loved it. I love that kind of attention, and they're cops, and they're all big macho guys.
course.
I want them to like me. And one of the guys said, he's just seen this guy back in Newark. He used to work black areas, and when they shot this cop or something like that, what he and his buddy did is went around and broke all the windows of the black houses with like a baton and ran around. And he's like, and I remember being so horrified at that story. And this is way before Black Lives Matter. It was in the 90s when
Right.
And I remember going,
still
that's
not.
what it's like to be a black person in the ghetto. That's what it's like to be poor. That's what it's like to be powerless. And I never forgot being depressed, horrified, and everything else. And guess what I did in that moment? I didn't do it. I went, oh man, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, of course.
I went along with the harmony.
Right.
I didn't go, hold it,
No, but you also didn't go, I hear that. I'd love to get me a piece of one of those black guys.
of course not.
That's what Billy
I don't
did.
think Billy did that, but I think what he did was because
I think he
kind
did
of
to a
was
certain
laughing
extent.
with him a little bit, right?
I would have protected my co-host a little more. Like, here's the thing: I would have directed it all towards me. Like, I'm an idiot. I bring. I don't mind you making fun of me. You know what I mean? And if it's me and you going at it one-on-one, that's fine. But if you bring someone else, people like unsuspecting parties, he made a dig about Nancy O'Dell or something like that, and Billy was co-hosting with her at the time. That I would have stopped it there. I go, oh, dude, she's the best. I would have redirected the line of thought for him.
Helps him out.
Not in a bad way.
I agree.
I wouldn't have gone, you're a dick. I would have gone, dude, she's the coolest. You'd love her. She's one of us. We would have moved that along.
Yes.
Have you ever though been in a situation where somebody says something, an off-color joke, and you realize that person is a very bad person? Like
Immediately.
One time, you ever hear, we've been around guys and there'll be a girl and she's a little girl, she's 12 years old, and somebody will be like, hey, if there's grass in the infield, I'll fuck her.
Oh, God.
Or, hey, bro,
I've never
how
had
come
that
there are
happen.
laws? You hear that and you go, or they'll tell a joke like, "What's the best thing about having sex with a 12-year-old, whatever it is?" There's these jokes, and you just go, "You think that's funny, and you think then there's a side of you that."
It's so disgusting.
You're a bad dude. You can see it.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
And you're like, and yet you're kind of in this. We're all hanging out and stuff.
Yeah.
And if
you don't want to be that guy, the altruism,
no, but if
voice
Law and
of
Order
reason.
breaks down, you're a very dangerous person.
That's
you can
right.
see it.
That's right.
It's really interesting.
Luckily, I don't have a lot of those guys in my circle. I never have.
No,
I don't.
Well, that's when you go. That's when you
none.
go. Oh well, can't be friends with you.
Right, no, you find
you're-
yourself at a bar, maybe a good buddy has this other buddy. He's the guy that lays that joke. You go, well, this guy won't be knowing. You know what
I
I mean?
like crazy.
It's actually a good social
I like
indicator.
crazy. If you got a guy who's just a badass or fights, or
Of
just kind of
course.
we all that. But when you're that, when
No.
there's that line.
I can't do crazy. I can't do creepy. I sure as fuck can't do liars. We
Yeah.
have a mutual friend who's a compulsive liar.
And we're both liars, but
No.
there's liars.
completely different.
It's an art of lying.
Yeah.
Brian has this friend. He'll tell a story. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's just not true, sir. It's just simply not true.
Brennan had to like.
None of this is true.
Brennan was looking at me going, "Listen to me. I know this world. It's just not." And I was like,
Right.
Oof, it's bad.
Anyway.
All right, let's go some fan questions.
Mark McGrath.
do
Wait,
it.
wait.
Yes,
Let me give you my very quick dropping knowledge, which is George Zimmerman, who just got acquitted. The guy who shot at George Zimmerman, killed Trayvon Martin. The guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I was thinking about race relations and stuff. It goes back to what we were talking about with this story. And I was looking at him, and the guy who got George Zimmerman's been in his own trouble with the law.
Right.
He has domestic violence charges against him. He attacked a cop when he was
Road
drunk. There's a lot of
rage.
stuff. Yeah. And this guy killed Trayvon Martin, and I always noticed he didn't seem to have a lot of remorse for
No.
it. And he's self-appointed neighborhood watchman.
He was selling the gun, I think,
Well,
that
how about
used to
this?
shoot him.
And that's what I
for
looked
money.
at.
Yeah.
So I looked at that, and I went, when I heard he auctioned the gun off, which apparently I think he got $140,000
I didn't know you were
for.
going with that. I was just saying that's how bad.
No,
that
I'm
guy
glad
is.
you said
Yeah.
that, because he got 100. Somebody bought that gun for this 17-year-old was shot, who has a family, his mother and father. You could see them in the courtroom and I remember seeing this guy, and I went, whatever happened there, you're the self-appointed, neighborhood watchman and stuff. But I found out also that he was, according to several different sources that I looked up, because I wanted to make sure I was right about this, according to his website, he was getting up to $33,000 a month in contributions.
Oh, that's scary.
And I thought to myself,
scary.
what a divided country. And he also he goes to gun shows and takes pictures and signs autographs.
Yikes.
And what's really interesting about race relations is that his father was German and his mother was Peruvian. So there was that. And his mother also has some black ancestry in her. So there's this weird racial world we live in. And I thought to myself,
God
here's this
damn,
guy who does he look Hispanic or whatever? Yet he got that much money. So he signed a book deal for
killing a black man.
If you made a mistake like
black
that,
kid, a black boy,
17-year-old.
wouldn't you go away forever? Like, wouldn't you be embarrassed to show you wouldn't make a public example of yourself?
I
Like,
sure
If I
would,
made a
but-
mistest and accidentally killed someone,
But this is a sociopath who's
no, but it just
threatened
shows
women.
it shows you what his intentions were. So like, how accidental was this killing?
No, Mark.
Exactly.
But this
Exactly.
is the scary thing. Maybe he would. Oh, this is crazy. Maybe he would have went to hiding, but all the support, and he's like, hold on. You're gonna give me?
Yeah, good point.
Whoa, you want to pay me $10,000 to do a signing?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
I didn't even think
I'm
of
gonna
that.
get an agent.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have a business here.
Yeah.
I have a following on YouTube.
Yep.
Oh my, I can sell the gun for $100,000.
Yep.
What's wrong with America?
$140,000.
Why didn't more people shoot black kids?
Yeah.
How fucking
He made
nuts
money
is
off
that?
Yeah, you're
of
right.
their-
And he was a perfect guy to receive that kind of
How
attention.
nuts is
And
that?
we're all parents, you know.
Well, of course.
And you think about the unthinkable, like your 17-year-old who might be kind of like he was probably had his hood on. He's like, "Fuck you! I'm not gonna." He's a kid. He's like, "Fuck
Of course.
you! Fuck you! You're not a cop."
And this guy's
And
looking
yeah.
for it. Just
Yeah,
give me a
looking
reason.
for it.
Give me a reason.
He has a history of violence. He has
Of
a
course,
history toward
yeah.
women. He had restraining orders. His ex-wife, his current wife, and then they retracted the restraining orders. This guy threatened them. I mean, he's a piece of shit.
He's the guy that tells those jokes. He's
the
that
guy
guy.
who tells like- yeah.
He's the auxiliary police of the little community.
He's the Billy Bush of cops.
Wait a minute,
Said Brandon.
Said Brendan Schaub. Mark McGrath and Brian Kelly have nothing to do with that.
Brendan
I'm
Schaub
just
said
kidding.
that. Brendan
I'm
Schaub.
I'm just kidding. Let's go to McGrath.
Brandon got that one hosting gig, and then
All of a sudden, talking shit about
He's
Billy
Bush. Don't forget.
He's changed.
That is crazy.
Mark
though, man.
McGrath, a good
All
guest
right.
so far. I'll tell you that much.
I appreciate you guys having me, man.
One of my favorites, man. Beast.
yeah.
Oh, you're too kind.
All right, first fan question. What was your biggest influence on the band? Or rather, who was your biggest influence on the band?
Oh, I
said
kind of
Johnny
addressed it
Rotten,
earlier,
right?
but it was the Sex Pistols for me. It gave me the wherewithal to get on stage. But musically, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I love the Beastie Boys, the Beatles, and the Beach Boys, and somewhere in between all that. I love music. You know, so I thought I was a breakdancer for a little bit. I loved rockabilly for a second. I thought I was a mod. You know, so I incorporated a little bit of everything, and we had a little bit of hip hop undertones too as well. A little bit,
right.
a little bit.
A little bit.
All right, question for everybody.
Hopefully, I get you to do that.
Question for all three of you. What's the worst gig you've ever played?
Wow. Oh, that's
Mark,
good.
we'll start with you.
Yeah, that's a good one. We played a gig in Spokane, Washington in 1997, a month before Fly broke. And we were with three signed bands. One was called The Urge from St. Louis. One was called Snot from Santa Barbara, they're on Geffen. And one was Sugar Ray. And nobody showed up to three signed major label bands. Not one person showed up. There was a guy at the bar with like one of those air things in his mouth or in his nose. Shh. And then as soon as he left, we could play, and we played to nobody. So we can't even say there was one person there. There was nobody there. Nobody there. And then the next show we quit. We go, we're going home. The tour's just not working. And then a month later, Fly was everywhere around the universe and elsewhere. So that was the worst gig. But it was also the best gig because all the bands kind of had fun and kind of played each other. So.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's
Nobody.
nuts.
Not one.
Yeah.
Nobody. No pay.
That's so embarrassing.
I have performed.
Nobody. Not one.
Yep.
Not one.
Facing the promoters.
I have, as a comic, I have performed with gusto for 4 people and 1 person. There was 1 person I did a half hour for him, and he was from Israel, and he was laughing like this.
By himself.
Comedy Store, Tuesday night, 12 a.m. And I'm killing him. I mean, I'm giving him a show like I'd be performing for 3,500 people. Just and he's going. He was giving me the Mark McGrath laugh, which you got a great laugh,
you did.
and I was getting that the whole time. One of the best sets. That was one of my best gigs.
Oh my God.
One of my best gigs. Now, my worst gig is tied for. I did this Jewish. Community Jewish, it was some Jewish organization. They asked me to be, I'm not Jewish, but my buddy Dov Davidoff said, let's go do this gig. I think he brought me along, and he wanted me I said, he goes, can you break the ice? I can't. I go, okay, we get up there, and it's a bar, and there's another bar downstairs with a lot of noise, and there are all these it's essentially, I guess, a Jewish community, some group, and I go, well, where's the mic? And well, we have this thing, and you know that when you're a Subway singer and you bring your own mic and amplifier.
Yeah.
That's what they gave me with them.
Wow.
And I said, well, they're not going to see me. There's no stage. And they go, well, we don't know what to do. And Dub was getting paid. And I said, well, give me that couch. And there was a little couch. It was a child's couch.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood on it. Wow. It's the kind of couch that you would use for a dog to lie down on.
Right.
And I stood on the couch, and I'm not kidding. And you can ask Dub. My head was touching the ceiling. It was such low ceilings in my head. And I did my whole act like that and talked about that. And then Dub got up and did it. And it actually, because it was so ridiculous, the crowd was actually loving it. It was so ridiculous.
Right.
And but that's tied with the very worst gig where they paid me $28,000 to do this bank, and I go there and I get there and it's a pool at 4 p.m. and they're all around and they want me to get up on this creaky thing with a terrible mic and do stand up at 4 p.m. to a bunch of bankers around a pool. I got 7 minutes in. And the guy goes, Brian, in the middle of my act, he goes, Brian. I look over, I go, yeah. And he goes, wrap it up. Like this loud. Wrap it up. Now this goes through an hour. Wrap it up. 7 minutes. I was like,
Okay.
all right, guys. That's my time. See you later.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Were they drinking, Brian?
Huh?
Were they drinking? Because
They weren't even drinking, dude.
Hey, Brian, this isn't working. Wrap it up.
And
Oh
one
my
guy in
God.
the middle of the act, there was one dude again who was like, ah! There's another dude over there. One guy goes, yeah. That's all I got. Yeah.
you don't know what that means.
Yep. Game
And
over.
there was another guy with a head, and I go, you have the biggest head I've ever fucking seen in my life. I've never
I'm
seen
sure
a head
you
like
love
that.
that.
Everybody's really tight, and then some woman goes, he's the boss.
Oh my God.
It was great.
I don't have enough experience with these guys to have any bad experiences like this. I kind of jumped into this in a good spot. Though we've had great shows. We've never had a bad one. The only one where I was kind of like, oh, this is weird, was Vegas on a Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a big event and party that before. So
That's
by
nothing, brother.
yeah, I'm sure.
That's a good gig.
Yeah. So this is at Hard Rock. So by the time we see them, I mean, we had a good crowd. I mean, almost sold,
For me,
damn
we
near
had Frank
sold
Mir
out.
and we had Big Country. We had
I
Roy
don't give
Nelson.
a
I was so
fuck
excited.
about
I
that.
did. I was excited.
Well, of course
Bodies
you
there,
were.
man.
I'm a fan.
But there's just low energy. There's no energy, and I was like, I won't be back on a Sunday show in Vegas.
Fucking this
ever.
guy. By the
Ever.
way, that gig is what comics dream for.
Right.
Not this
That
guy.
was an amazing gig.
Not this guy.
I love it.
It's been a bunch of gigs we've done. Sorry to interrupt. That where we've done like an office at 4 in the afternoon, and there was there's no drinking. They were just like, it was just they were just having a part and then they were going to go back to work after. So that it was impossible.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's like I cannot wait to get off the stage, dude.
Yeah.
Cannot. Done a few of those.
What about like one of your first fights? Did you ever fight in front of like 3 people in like a fucking barn or something?
Sure didn't. First fight was sold out arena in Broomfield,
Next
Colorado.
question. Fuck this guy.
And I
knocked
knocked
him out in 18 seconds.
I knocked the
walked
guy
out
in
of there.
36 seconds.
He's
and
never
was
had a
eating hot
hardship
dogs
in his
the
life,
back.
man.
Yeah.
You're lucky
Knocked out in
bastard.
36 seconds?
Yep.
God damn.
All right. Next one we'll do is this guy wants you to discuss the whole vibe of the late 90s and early 2000s as compared to now, and do you think that style of music will come back?
Kind of did that. We've kind of
Yeah,
covered
we kind of
these.
hit that in the business sense and
Yeah.
like in terms of like the flavor of rock. I kind of just to summarize said that rock is going to be sort of a niche sort of thing, kind of like jazz was and
yes.
is.
Yeah.
And there's no business model anymore. I don't think people at labels could tell you how to get signed anymore. They don't know themselves.
They're trying to
'Cause
figure it out.
They're my age that are executives, so I know they don't know. And they're still kind of holding on to the old model a little bit. Adele sells like 4 million copies last winter, and 1 week, and everybody's like, "Wait a minute, maybe it's coming back." But that was just the anomaly. So
Yeah.
Let's do one more, Ev.
I would say don't go into the record business. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I've heard that. It's changing. Everything's
A lot of guys are going independent, you see. They just do it
Yeah,
themselves.
to themselves, and like and that's great. But you're never gonna get like while Clear Channel's running things and Live Nation, you're never gonna get to them. You know what I mean? You still got to play the game to get up there.
There's still a game, yeah.
You could go out there and maybe do a little 300 club seaters and maybe like break even after a tour, and if that's what you want to do, great. Have fun doing it. But as a career choice, it's rough, man. It's tough.
Yeah,
I don't mean to bum anybody out, and go
hear
for your
it.
dreams and make it happen.
No, but it's good to
never
get-
been-
it's good to get
hard
your perspective
thing
on
has
it.
never been harder to do.
Yes.
An incredibly hard thing has never been harder to do.
That makes sense.
Damn, that's a good way to put it.
yeah,
too.
it is.
All right, and since we're coming up on Halloween, we'll go with this one. Fighter and the Kid and Mark. Any crazy Halloween party stories, and what's your favorite Halloween candy?
I know what I'm going as. That's all I can tell you. I don't have any Halloween stories, but I'm going as Pablo Escobar, and my girl is going to go as his wife.
Love that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Get myself a mustache. That's all I got for you when it
Do you
comes
have
to
a
Halloween.
party to go to, or you guys just dressed up
I
at the
do
house?
have a party.
Are you making
do have
stuff
a
up?
He's going to be at my door.
Yeah.
He's going. Someone's coming.
I got a party. Bradley Cooper's throwing, and Brad Pitt is throwing. I'm going. Their party. They have a house in Malibu together, and I'm going to go there.
What do you got, Mark?
My wife kind of is a party pooper. She won't dress up. So I like to be the head and shoulders guy. Very simple. People
That's
laugh
so
their ass
fun.
off. You put a robe on, put shaving cream in your head, and put a line down the middle, and walk out the door.
pretty
People
funny.
will die and laugh, and you will
That's
get
pretty good.
accolades. A robe, light blue robe, shaving cream, down the middle. Head and shoulders guy.
That's pretty fun.
Works every time. Head and shoulders guy. You'll get it, and it's
Is that right?
You get it all day long.
That's
and
great.
I've done it for 20 years in a row. Thank you very much.
Damn,
Very
20 years in a row.
And I'm be at Todd Bridges' Halloween party this year. Thank you.
You will be. Good old time.
You know what's scary is that like you think I was trying to make a joke off your joke.
Yeah.
And you're you probably will be. You're thinking that Serial Life cast hangs around Halloween together? Is that what you're thinking, Brian?
Oh wow, really?
You're trying not to did you jump on that? Like, out of respect for me?
What's fucked up is I believed you
Maybe
because
you
I
will. That sounds right.
No, what's fucked up is because I used to do the show with Todd Bridges on True TV. I'm not sure, but we would all. He was one of the guys.
show's
That
great.
terrible,
Johnny
yeah,
Nelson or whatever.
whatever it was.
You're
And
great.
I thought that's you looking at me was your acknowledgement of Todd Bridges because I was on a show.
I even
That's how
forgot.
fucked up I am. I didn't get that you were being silly, and I didn't even laugh at your good joke. 'Cause
No,
that's a
we
good
just went.
joke.
Oh wow, that'd be fun.
I even forgot you were on that because I watch all the time. Johnny, I love that
that's
show, by the
funny.
way.
We missed each other.
Is
on
it
this.
still? I mean,
I don't know,
'cause
I haven't-
it seems to be getting bigger and bigger. It's on all the time. It's the only thing on True.
It was such a I don't know. I
That
don't
is
know
amazing.
anymore. It was
All right,
big.
Mark.
Not your
we
favorite
can't-
work.
dude. We
No,
can't
I
thank you
don't-
enough
nah,
for coming on, brother.
Oh, bro, Brandon, Brian, thank you guys so much for having me.
McGrath.
Mark, the powerful Mark.
Been a pleasure, you guys. Really,
Yeah, man. Thanks
Dude.
a lot.
Fan of you both for a long time. It's a pleasure to sit down
You
with you.
killed it. You killed it.
You're really just on Twitter, right? Just at Mark.
Yeah, on Twitter, or you'll find any band dates at markmcgrath.com. And I'm very available on Twitter. I like to hear from the folks. So
Awesome. Give him a shout, guys. Thanks for coming on, brother.
We're
Thank
gonna
you,
walk
guys.
you out because I'm gonna piss out of my dick, and you're gonna help me.